Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast, episode 720 for Tuesday, the 25th of February 2025. I'm your host, Mark Webb, gamertag Pearson ID, Steam ID, Webby, 360G, and joining me today is...
Obsidian used to make good games until they took an Avowed to the knee. It's Nick Bites.
And back again, it's Dark as Frost. I'm
back again, Mr. Peebs.
Peebs, it's nice for you to make a return. Obviously, nice for Frosty to make a return as well. But I'm surprised you, Peebs, because I thought you'd be a little bit too hungover to join us today after your antics out in London.
No, too bad, mate.
No, okay. Nice.
Yeah, we went to London yesterday, but yeah, it weren't. We had a few drinks and stuff, but we when we got back to King's Cross about 7:00. Our train was delayed, so we didn't get home till midnight.
Ooh.
Yeah, someone unfortunately had thrown themselves in front of a train at Stevenage. So I think that's 2 weeks on the trot now that's happened.
You know,
so
there's just no regard for passengers, is there, when people do that?
I know, how selfish.
I know.
But yeah, so by the time we got back, we'd sort of sobered up, so not too bad. Just a bit of a lazy day today. Witherspoons for breakfast.
As you do.
Cook the alcohol, yeah.
Nice.
But, yeah, good to be back on.
Very nice, very nice.
It's been that long, has it? It was before Christmas, I think.
It's ages away, mate. That was ages ago, in my mind.
Yeah.
Frosty's been on more recent than you. He was only on a few weeks back.
Yeah. Well, listen. Well, mind you, was that a Patreon episode?
Yeah, but you have access to them, so you would have listened, I imagine.
Yeah, but I can. No, because I keep forgetting how to access it.
All right. We'll sort you out later. We'll sort you out later. All right. Yeah, so it's nice for everyone to be here. Absolutely fantastic. Darren, as he mentioned last week, is not here because he's at work. Graham isn't here because it's been half term this past week and he's been on children duty, so he's not had any gaming time, unfortunately. Happens to the best of us. So, but we're going strong. It's all good. Episode 720, as we say. Been an interesting week for games. Been some new releases, which is fantastic. I'm sure we're going to get into some discussions about those very shortly. I've got some discussion points I want to talk about as well. Also, just want to throw out there that on the Discord there is a podcast questions room, but also we have the forums as well, so you can use either or to put any questions if you so wish. And there has been a couple of questions, so please don't let me forget to read them out, because sometimes that happens when I get a bit tired later on. But yes, let's talk video games then. And I think there's a game that 3 of us on here have been playing this week. I don't think Peebs has played it. I've not seen him play it.
No, I didn't even know this game was a thing until you mentioned it in the week.
Yeah,
because your name's PlayStation Peebs now.
Oh no! And all the PlayStation fanboys have been slating it and downvoting
Is it
on
an exclusive
Metacritic.
Then?
It is at the minute. It's on Game Pass, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's not on PlayStation.
No, I haven't seen it.
That game is Avowed. So I think Nick and Frosty, you've actually probably played it a bit more than me. So before I get into my thoughts and feelings on it, I've played it for 4 hours. I just wanted to check my playtime.
I'm about the same.
Okay, so I actually watched you streaming some of it this week, Nick. So big shout out to Nick, who does do streaming. Nick Fights on the Twitch, which was I enjoyed it immensely, I must say. And I know Frosty's...
I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, and I've seen Frosty playing it because I've been spying on him on my friends list. So you guys, please give me your thoughts and feelings on it before I get into mine, because we might have some opposite opinions here.
Who wants to go first?
We'll start with you, Frosty. Go.
Yeah, you go first, mate.
All right, so I've played this quite a bit, actually. I've done about 15 hours so far.
Oh, Jesus. Ooh. Well, you've played it way more than us then.
Yeah. And all the negative that everyone is going to be talking about, I do agree with. I have come to the conclusion that it's not a game like Skyrim or Oblivion.
Yes.
And I know that's what everyone's going to say it's like, and it's not as good as. And I've seen the videos of, side by side with the two games running and how bad it looks compared to what Oblivion did, etc., etc. But I actually have decided that I think this game is a Pillars of Eternity game, like the isometric type game that they've just done in a first-person mode. And if I look at it like that, that's why I'm not bothered about NPCs not walking around towns, etc., etc., because you don't get that in those games, really. Everything is quite static. But, I mean, it still is scratching that huge itch of just going out exploring, coming across side quests, and just going through the game like that. It's a time waster for me. It's not a fantastic game, but I'm having a good laugh with it. My character creation, I made my guy look pretty normal. I got rid of all the weird shit. But I will also say that it is woke. It's not really throwing it completely in your face like some games have, but it is there, and you can definitely cut through the crap and see what the devs were trying to get across. But I'm just trying to ignore all that and just enjoy the combat.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall for me, I think it's fine. It's okay. It's nothing special, but it's not a turd.
So
I wouldn't have bought it, put it that way.
Yeah, and this is what I was trying to allude to. This is why I wanted you guys to talk first. I mean, what's your thoughts on it, Nick?
Well, I didn't know it was anything to do with, what was it, Pillars of Eternity, until you brought it up on the stream. I was like, isn't that another game? And you were like, yeah, it's based off that. I didn't know. I thought it was basically a Skyrim rip-off because it kind of plays like it. And even the music, when I was listening to it, I was like, that sounds like exactly the same as like a lot of the Skyrim music.
Yeah.
As well. But, I mean, like I said, I've only played it for 4 hours. You've played it a lot more. And, yeah, I thought it actually, like, actual combat-wise and walking about, it plays better than Skyrim, which it should do, a game that's, like, 14, 15 years newer than that, just by a few, like, the combat. It's pretty much the same. You've got two hands. You put one in, like a sword in one hand, your magic in the other. But when you press the button, instead, like with Skyrim, you had to, like, have, like, fire in one hand or lightning in one hand. And if you wanted to change, you'd have to go into the menus and then change it. Whereas this one, you just, like, hold L trigger or something and open your book up. And then you press the face buttons. You could do like 4 different spells. So that I like that. That makes it a little bit easier to play. And I have been enjoying it. I haven't seen, like, so I'm only 4 hours in, and I've tried to stay away from like a lot of the negativity stuff on social media.
Yeah.
Because I want to give it a fair chance and not just copy what they've said word for word. Because I want to see anything for myself. And like I said, the only thing that caught me, I mean, I think you saw that, Webby, where it was telling me I had to use the bow and arrow to get through this door before it actually gave me the bow and arrow.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. And the menus, it's like all games nowadays. It's like you press the menu button and there's like 50 pages pop up and you've got all the shoulder buttons left and right on the analog stick, and it's hard to sometimes navigate all those, but I think that's all games today.
Yeah.
And I've got a couple, I don't know if you got them, Webby. I've got a couple of companions. I've got Kai, who just looks like Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy, and little Gimli the Dwarf, who's not called Gimli the Dwarf for copyright reasons, but I've got him. And to be honest, the story in 4 hours, it's not got me yet. Like, not to keep comparing it to the old, Elder Scrolls games, but you had a Skyrim, it basically got you right from the start, getting, on your way to be, like, executed, and then the dragon turning up and everything going to shit, or that famous one, in Oblivion, where you go through the sewers for an hour or so with Patrick Stewart, and then you come out into the open world, and you're just like,
yeah,
and you just get that thing. I haven't had nothing like that yet. I think Roger, it's kind of like a time waster type thing, and the voice acting's okay, but there's just too many options in my opinion. Like sometimes I'm just like, nope, I'm just do the bottom one, end conversation, let's go, and then they still want to talk for another couple of minutes, things like that. But I haven't really seen any of the woke stuff yet. But
well, it is
if you
definitely
see
there.
it is, yeah. Well, you guys can get into that, and I'll,
Well, so the problem for me is, and I'm going to be open and honest.
Is that what you've played or what you've read as well as? Is it both together?
Okay, well, let me get into a little bit of it. So, in the character creation, there is an option to add pronouns to your character, which for me is always a big down vote. And it's just the way that. Okay, let me start from the beginning because I'm getting ahead of myself on what I wanted to say. So. Unfortunately, with this day and age of social media and all this easy access to information, it's very hard to go into any video game blind these days unless you're living in a cave. Unfortunately, I am on social media a lot. I'm on a computer all day, and I like to look at the gaming news, what's going on, etc., etc. It's like I kind of like to think that I keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on just in gaming in general, with the communities, etc. Unfortunately for Avowed, and it's not all the devs' fault, I would say. It's one guy from the team who it's the main artist. He went on to Blue Sky, which is the alternative to Twitter /X, and was talking about how he's so happy that his art and the game is, in his words, owning the chuds and making an upsetting Elon Musk, right? And
what is a chud?
I have no fucking idea.
I was gonna ask that.
I think it's like meant to be like a term to be derogatory towards right wingers or something. I don't know.
Gammons.
Yes. Anyway,
as we're called.
In my view, it doesn't matter if you're what side of the political spectrum you're on, left, right, whatever, don't care. Someone who works for any company, gaming or not, should not really be spouting stuff like that on social media because it makes the company look bad. And that straight away annoyed me because I'm like, if I went and said something like that, I'd be fired. Like if I had my company, like in my Twitter profile saying shit like that, they'd sack me on the spot because, you're being a prick. But these, like a lot of these gaming companies seem to not give a fuck, So straight away I'm like, oh my God, are they trying to push an agenda with this game? Why is he saying shit like that? It's not great. But obviously, I've tried to keep an open mind and play the game. I've played it for 4 hours. Straight away in the character creator, and I wanted to talk about this. Is I don't know what it is with Western games for the last 5-10 years. It seems that, especially in this generation of consoles / gaming, Western companies seem to make the characters in their games more ugly every subsequent game that comes out. But like the Asian companies, like China, Japan, Korea, and all that, they know how to make a good-looking male or female characters, right? And video gaming, in my opinion, is meant to be escapism from reality. And just like in movies and stuff like that, that escapism, you want to see beautiful people, good-looking people, right? It's just how the world is, how the human brain is wired. But for some reason, Western games seem to have this uglification of male and female characters. And Avowed, unfortunately, is probably one of the best examples of this, because in the character creation, it is super hard to make a good-looking character. I know Frosty put a picture and he says, well, my character looks kind of normal.
Beautiful, in fact.
But I know that part of this game's story is the fact that you are like a god-type person and you have this weird stuff on your face, be it like mushrooms coming out your head or whatever.
I haven't got none of that stuff.
But
I
it's
just got weird tattoos on my face. I just picked whoever looked like Triple H and just went go. I didn't try. I haven't tried to do character creation or spend any time in that ever, really. Like I said, the only time I ever did was in Cyberpunk when I was like looking at the nakedness. That was it. I was like, oh, this is worth a glance. What size pussy lips shall I choose? You know, that was a weird thing, but.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's weird. I noticed. You know, I played. What was it called? The Crew, the latest The Crew, where you could pick your character in that, and they were all just weird looking, and no one just looked. I don't know. It's hard, not a bit mean to say, but nobody looked standard protagonist, like normal white dude or normal white girl. Everyone looked some form of woke different.
Yeah,
it's just. I think it's too obvious sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, but
like it's obvious in movies and TV where, you know, everyone is a movie star or a TV star, and they all are all good looking. For how obvious that is, this is obvious they're doing it the other way.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not just the character creation in this game. It's pretty much all the companions that I've got so far are all like, what the fuck were they thinking when they were creating these characters? Like, they just look like they've been ripped out of like the AI rule book. I hate to say wokeness because it's just ugly. It's just uglification. Completely. It's just really weird. I just don't understand it at all. You know, and I think this is why, I play a lot of Asian games, as you know, and they know how to make beautiful characters, be it male or female, right? And it's just such a stark contrast between East and West developers in that regard. It's quite jarring. It is really weird. I don't understand it.
Well, it's just because the society's like, it's reflecting the society. Obviously, the Western is woke. Like, the Asian countries haven't probably been affected by all this political correctness.
Do you actually think that the West is woke, or is it just the vocal minority on social media that is, and they're trying to make I just think a lot of them are projecting however that vocal minority looks and just forcing everyone to look, you know, it's like, you know, they're saying, well, I'm not a very good-looking person, so no one's allowed to be very good-looking because it makes me feel better. It's like, if I made a video game and made it so no one's allowed to be slim because I'm a chubby boy. Do you know what I mean? It's just a weird thing to do, especially when character creations became so detailed a few years ago that you could almost make someone that looks identical. Like, was it what game was it? Dragon Age, where you couldn't have a character with big tits or nothing.
Oh, Veilguard, yeah, it was Veilguard, yeah.
It was like size like 0 to 100, and it was like A cup to B cup, and that was it. And I'm like, oh, so anyone who wants to make the character look like themselves can't, and it's just like.
But it's not even. But it's not even. You know, character creations. We'll talk. You know, it's not even being pervy at all. It's like you just want to make. If you want to make a woman with big tits and a big ass, well, why can't you? And it just seemed like the Western games just seem to be so against it, but then the Eastern games seem to push it. And it's just, I mean, you look at all the games, especially like Darren plays, and you know some of the recent character additions to Street Fighter as a prime example. like May, who was added. You know, she's got big honkers, but it's like it's not pervy. It's just she looks nice and she has a really cool dress, and that's it. And that's how most people look at it. But you know, it just seems to be a big push against that sort of sexualization of characters in the Western market for some strange reason. I don't understand it.
Didn't you say it's the opposite of inclusion? It's excluding everyone that doesn't do that. I mean, can you remember that game, Webby? I think it was mid 360. It might have been earlier than that, where you could like take a picture of yourself and scan it into the game, and it put your face on the game.
Rainbow Six Vegas did it on the 360.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, and there was a few others.
That's where we were going, and how AI is now. I thought we'd be at the stage now where you could take a picture of yourself, put it in the Xbox or whatever, and it would just scan you and just AI you a character that looks like you.
There was a EA sports game that did that.
You could put your face on one of the characters.
Yeah, so you basically you had to download an app on your phone and upload like a selfie to it, and it would put it in the game.
It might have been a Madden or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but I remember doing it on a demo.
Yeah, I want to say EA, but it's just
FIFA.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the FIFAs allowed you to do it.
Yeah, no, they don't want to do any of that, do they?
It's strange. I don't get it. But anyway, like we're kind of diverting away. So basically, my thoughts on Avowed are, apart from all that stuff that we've already mentioned, I'm trying to get away from it if I can, just to get to more critique. From what I played, it's, I don't know if you agree with me on this, it's perfect Game Pass fodder. And what I mean by that is it's great filler content for the subscription service, but it wouldn't be good enough for a £60-70 purchase, in my opinion. It's just good enough to slap onto the service. You know, like Netflix has that kind of filler TV content that you might watch when you're like scrolling your phone or something. It's that. It's like, it's not a AAA game. It's kind of like, it's kind of like a B type movie. It's a AA. It's an A/AA type gaming experience, which, you know, we used to get a lot of that on the Xbox 360. To be fair, and that's kind of been missing, kind of this gen, I would say. But it's just, it's not it's great for Game Pass filler, as you say. It's an average game, but from a dev from Obsidian, who are a renowned developer, they brought, you know, New Vegas was, you know, probably one of the best Fallout games ever, and they made that. We, as a consumer, I kind of expect more from them than this. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I actually think this is a very, very good-looking game. Apart from all the ugly female characters,
it's a nice, colourful game. It's not like Skyrim where everything's dark, and it's a different art style.
I think the textures are good.
Yeah,
the textures are good. The environments are great. I mean, I'm on the third sort of map area of the game now, and there is big differences between you know the maps. I think it's a very good looking game, but the combat's fantastic, but it almost gives me the same feeling as I got when I used to play what's the EA, I think it was the EA game where you flew around, which was complete
I was thinking of Kingdoms of Amalur then, but you're not thinking of that.
No, it's the one where you fly around, all the combat's flying, and you was in the suits. It ended up being a big flop.
Oh, I know what game you mean, but it's like the name. Fuck.
Something beginning with A, wasn't it? Oh.
Yeah, I'll have to come back to it, but the art style in this and walking around the world gives me the same vibe as when you used to walk around the hub city of that game. It was incredibly beautiful to look at, but empty. Nothing, no living vibrancy.
They've got Immortals of Avian, but it's not that. It was something else, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was their big, huge game.
Anthem. That's it, Anthem. Yes.
Has that been with A?
Yeah.
I couldn't think of it.
So if you remember how good that looked when you walked around that hub world, everything was beautiful, smooth, but there was no life in that world. You couldn't interact with anything.
Yeah.
This is pretty much the same, and that's why I said it gave me the vibe of it actually still being an isometric game. Because you didn't really have any interaction with those game worlds, like Diablo, for instance. There's not much to actually interact with in the world. And that's the vibe that it gives me. But I would say I do think it's a good-looking game. It just, as I said, with the female characters looking as bad as they do, it's because it's almost this girl boss energy. I mean, as I say, I'm quite. I would say I've progressed quite far into the story, and I have got to the big oh my god moment. I think in the story.
Right.
There's one then.
Yeah, it definitely is. But yeah, it's hard to put your finger on it because it is. I think it's a great looking game, but yeah, it just hasn't got the interactivity that you'd expect from a semi-open world game, should we say?
So, do you think the
open world is it?
No, it's in 3 zones, isn't it? And this is a question I was going to ask was, do you think the comparisons that have been going around online, comparing it to Oblivion and Skyrim, are fair? Or
not 100%.
Or not, because it's it's a different game, isn't it? It's
it is.
It's not open world. It looks similar. Yeah.
But it's not open world. And to be honest with you, having the 3 different zones, I actually quite like. Because with Skyrim, for instance, using the map could get incredibly overwhelming, trying to go from one side to the other, etc., etc. With this, it is a lot more condensed into where you need to be for each mission, and I do quite like that. I mean, the maps are still massive, the areas are still massive, and there's a lot of exploration. But as I say, you can tell that this had some development trouble because I believe this got restarted 3 times. I
think it started development in 2018.
Yeah, and as I say, the exploration is good, but it is the same. You just come across a chest, and then another chest, and then another chest, and it doesn't really get much deeper than that. So I think if this had another couple of years in the oven, it could have been great.
Yeah.
But it feels like it was brought out to be brought out, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. But I am still having fun with it. The story is okay. I mean, the story just reminds me of the Dragon Age, the original Dragon Age stories with the Scorn or whatever it was called,
Mm-hmm.
And I do find myself clicking through a lot of the dialogue.
There's a lot of it, isn't there? It gets a bit monotonous.
I started doing that. I'm just like...
I'm just getting the gist of things. But, again, story-wise and talking about a little bit of the wokeness, I do find that all the strong characters in this game are the female, girl boss energy characters. They're all hard but ugly women.
And this is the thing, right? And it's not saying that we are anti-woman or anything like that. Some of our favourite some of my favourite games going back to the PS1 era are like, Tomb Raider and stuff like that. And there was never an issue ever with having a main characters as female, etc. But it just seems like these days you can see where it's being pushed, and it's just I find it really off-putting. It's really weird,
it's been pushed too hard when it's noticeable.
Yes, 100%.
And it is a little bit here. And say some of the quest lines and the stories behind the quest lines, they have got a definite woke understory that is being told, but they have hidden it behind other things enough that you could miss it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I found myself sometimes going, I know exactly what you're actually trying to get.
Well, they even added the option quite late in on the character creator. So on the pronoun thing, they added an option for you to hide it,
drop it
in the main game. And from what I was reading, that was a very late addition, added to the game because of the pushback.
Yes.
I did notice that, Webby. Did you notice when I did the stream where you do your character creation, it's like they do in all games, which I thought it was a weird thing that when you click go, it says, "Are you sure?" Because once you've decided on your appearance and gender, you cannot change it. I thought, surely that's the opposite of what they were going for. You know, you couldn't even change it then. I'm like, oh, that could upset some people. But it's just how you interpret any of this could just upset people. When you get into politics in video games, do they not realise any politics, you're just going to piss off half of people?
Yeah.
Just don't bother with it. Just make good games.
Yeah, it's like when, during COVID, when a lot of games were putting all the BLM messages and stuff on the start screens of games when you load them up, and you just like, I load up a game or a movie or that or something like that to get away from reality for a couple of hours. I don't want that reality. I don't want reality pushed at me, you know. And I think that's what a lot of developers are missing now, is that people just want that escapism and some fun, and that's it.
And I am having fun with it.
Well, you know, and I'm glad you are, you know, because that's what gaming's about. It's about having fun. But, you know, I just want to say, I know it's not fair to compare it to Oblivion or Skyrim, but I was laughing at the videos online because it does prove a little point to me, and this is a little topic of discussion that I wanted to bring up for all of us as today. Is obviously the greatest era of video games was kind of that 360 PS3 generation, in my opinion. Games were, you know, pushing the boundaries of technology and storytelling, etc., etc. And I didn't really think about it too much until I saw some of these comparison videos where they were showing that, you know, even in Oblivion and Skyrim, you know, the NPCs were walking around the town having random conversations. They actually went to work, did stuff, went back home at night, slept. And even though the graphics now, by today's standards, are crap, you still kind of feel like you're in a living, breathing world because you're drawn in by all that realism, you know. You know, like on Skyrim, you can, you know, use your fire spell. It sets fire to the grass that's near all the trees, and if you steal something and someone sees it, they'll call you out, and then the guards will come at you. You could kill any NPC in the town, you know, all this kind of stuff, right? Which is, you know, that's so amazing. And then the Avowed comparisons was, doesn't set fire to anything. You know, after you fire 3 or 4 arrows, you know, the arrows start to disappear. You can't kill any of the NPCs. The NPCs in the town don't move. They're just static kind of mannequins just standing there. You know, and there was all these comparisons, and it's not a dig at Avowed because it's its own game, but it kind of brought home the realization to me that, you know, these older games, they really were trying to draw you into the world and push those boundaries, whereas, like, this is a brand new game, come out 2025, and it's like, it feels like you're walking around the town and it feels almost lifeless because there is none of that stuff that I've mentioned of what was going on in Skyrim and Oblivion, you know, all the people just standing around and not happening.
I mean, you say it's not fair to compare it to Skyrim and Oblivion, but that's what everyone's been doing for the last 2 or 3 years online and social media, saying this is going to be like a Skyrim. And obviously they made a Fallout game, so they didn't come out and said, no, we're not going for open world Skyrim Oblivion type game. It's going to be more focused on combat. So, you know, so they allowed people to believe that this was going to be like that. So they can have a little bit of criticism.
Yeah.
Not full on attack them, but, you know, they allowed people to... I mean, like I said to you before, this looks like a new Skyrim or, you know, a new Elder Scrolls when... I mean, I said to you on the WhatsApp the other day, Webby, they announced Elder Scrolls 6 in 2018.
Yeah.
7 years ago, man. And
that's mad, isn't it? Yeah.
It's mental that they would announce... Like, I mean, they've done a weird, like, slooping trailer. I mean, I think the announcement was, we're going to start, writing down what we're going to do. No way should they announce games as far out as they do, and they show us off vertical slices. I think that's what annoys some people as well. It's just you wait 5 years for average games now, don't you?
Yeah, and it's weird, and and this is something else I wanted to kind of touch on, and I don't know if you guys agree with me or not. And this is something that I see like the majority with Xbox Studios games, and this is me just going backwards to. I remember when Game Pass launched, maybe what was it, like 2017, 2018 or something like that, and I back in the 360 era, I rented most of my games through an online rental service because I love games and I can't afford to buy them all. So Game Pass for me, when it came out, I was really excited for it, really hyped for it. And yeah, there still is good games that do come to Game Pass, but they're all from third-party studios. And this is what I want to touch on is, since Game Pass has become a thing, I really do feel that the quality of Microsoft Game Studios titles have nosedived massively. And this is, I've loved Xbox since the OG Xbox, back in 2001 or 2002, whenever it came out. Being the biggest proponent of Microsoft, they're amazing. All these games are, bought an Xbox just for Halo, blah, blah, blah. Now it's like they've destroyed Forza, they've ruined Halo. Gears is like, where the fuck is Gears? All these big games that Microsoft had that made you want to buy a console are shit now. Forza still, it grates me, but the latest Forza still is fucking shit. And it's like, it just feels to me like this once great games company is just fucking gone right downhill. And I think some of that might be to do with Game Pass. And the reason I say that is because, when you're making a game and you're wanting to sell it at 50, 60, 70 quid, I feel like you're going to put more effort into bringing out a great game for launch. But when it comes to just adding a game to a subscription service that people are already paying for, it feels like they're making less effort on their titles because in that mentality, it's, oh yeah, well, it's just going to be added to the subscription service, so we'll just get something out to appease people. Yeah. And
I think I've said it before in the Webby, some of these Game Pass games, I said, if I'd have paid 60, 70 quid for this, I would be distraught.
Yeah.
Mortified. It's like, I had this chat with a bloke at work the other day. He's like, oh, I'm playing that God of War. It's free on PlayStation Plus. I'm like, but it's not free, mate. You're paying for PlayStation Plus. He went, oh, you know what I mean. I'm like, well, yeah. It's just how people... The same with Netflix. If we watch, which I have done, you watch a crappy movie on Netflix, you're just like, oh, well, it passed the time. It was, maybe the next one will be decent. It's not that bad. But then, like for you, Webby, if you watched a crappy movie with the missus and kids on Netflix, it's not the end of the world. But if you took them all out to the cinema and paid all that money, popcorn, drinks and stuff like that, and come out and spend like 100 quid or whatever on food, popcorn and all the tickets, and the movie was crap, you would be really annoyed, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I'm still annoyed, even if it's a good movie. Spending
Obviously, price-wise, but it's just, it's good. Like, there's so many games and choices. I said when they first done Game Pass, this is a good way, like, if you've got kids, that you can just say, I'm not buying three £60 games for you every year. You can, which was never a thing when we grew up, was it, Webby? We got games when it was our birthday or Christmas, and that was pretty much it. And it's like, right, you got your Game Pass, play something on there. That's what it's for. I don't think it was ever supposed to be like a high quality games thing.
Yeah, well, saying that, I just want to, before we move on, I just want to shout out, Mr. Jelly's put a comment in Twitch. I just want to read his comment out because it's quite interesting. So he says, I always said Game Pass would negatively affect gaming. Fantastic service for consumers, but there's no incentive to make good games when you know you're getting paid. Look at the film industry. No coincidence, since streaming services took off, the quality of films has nosedived on the whole. And he makes a great point there. 100%.
We've been saying it since it's happened. I mean, we could all see it coming, and it's just how it is. I mean, but it's why people make games and movies now. They don't care if they make a crap movie or a crap game if it makes money. If it makes money, all the executives people say it's a successful game because it made loads of money. They don't care if it's a good movie or a good game. I mean, like I said, people are still buying Skyrim and GTA 5 now.
Yeah.
You know, people are still buying those good games. People are still watching old good movies now. I mean, I honestly can't think of a movie or a game that I've played in the last 5 years that I would play a second time. I mean, possibly Final Fantasy VII Remake, and that's about it.
Well, it's strange because I have mixed emotions on Game Pass, because even now, right, they do put some decent games on there. So I'm just looking at it now, right, and in the last week they've added Rogue Trader, which is meant to be amazing. F1 24, which I'm a big F1 fan, so that's awesome. Sniper Elite Resistance, that me and Peebs have been playing. So, you know, there is good games on the service, so I'm not saying it's shit by any means, but the majority of the games that come out on this service are third party, or they're quite old, which is fair enough, right? But I still think it has had a negative impact on the quality of titles.
Do you think, Webby, also, though, it is the Netflix effect in our own minds as well? So, for me, I struggle to find a game that holds me wanting to play it from start to finish. Because you get a certain amount of way. Say I've been playing Avowed for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying it, etc., etc. But then all of a sudden, another nice new game has come out on Game Pass. I'll give that a look, and then you get stuck into that one. So I find it very difficult for a game to hold me. Back in the day, when you're spending 50 odd quid on a game, and that was going to be your game for the next month or so, you rinsed the hell out of it. With the time.
No, I think you have a valid point there, because, you know, I still buy games, quite a lot of games, and I find that the games I purchase on Steam, a majority of my games I buy on Steam now, I
spend more time with.
I mean, if it's a single player game, I will make sure I finish it. If it's a multiplayer game, I will if I've got people to play with, or if I love it, I will hammer it. But on Game Pass, the game has to be truly special for me in a lot of occasions to finish, because, you do get a little bit of that mentality of that Netflix effect. 100%. So I think that also might have something to do with it as well. And, you know, because you're overwhelmed with choice as well, aren't you? For a lot of the time. And it's how you manage, you know, because we don't have infinite time, right? So it's managing your time accordingly. I try to just install the games that I'm going to play, but sometimes that doesn't work. But, you know, on a whole, you know, thinking about this last week, I think a lot of older games, as I say, have, especially like story-wise and tech-wise, like are vastly superior to a lot of modern games. But there is still good games that do come out, but they just seem to be, I don't know, either less frequent, in my opinion, or lacking, or it's just Western games just aren't what they used to be, because I find myself being drawn more and more towards Asian games now, because I just feel like the quality's better, the graphics are better, and it saddens me a little bit. I mean, Japanese games have always been amazing, in my opinion, anyway. But what worries me at the minute with gaming in general is that China are really coming into the market strong now. They've never really been into the video game space because gaming has been banned in the country up until I think a couple of years ago. But because gaming is such a big money spinner now, like their studios have started to pump out some high quality titles. And I feel like if the West aren't careful, you know, they're just going to get overrun by high quality Chinese and Asian games. And a lot of these Western game devs and publishers are going to go under. I mean, we've already seen in the news this past month that there's big rumours that Ubisoft might go under this year because they're underperforming, you know, and they're a big studio. So it does concern me because, you know, we used to get a lot of high quality titles like Mass Effect as a prime example of one that just from the top of my head, but it just seems like the Western gaming sphere, it just seems to be, I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know. It's just that the quality just doesn't seem to be there anymore.
I think it's just oversaturated with people trying to make games and stuff like that. And there's just too many average games. I think, Frosty, which is right, you got a PS5, didn't you, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Frosty, he's got a PS5, didn't he?
No, I haven't. No.
Well, I'm going to say different. I know Peebs has as well, but like I said, I had, say, difference between Xbox and PlayStation. Like, I got the new God of War, like, with my PlayStation. It's like a download code. And I kind of forced myself to go through that game because I'd technically paid for it. And I liked the first one okay, and this one, the second one, wasn't as good as the first one. But I forced myself to complete the game because I thought, well, hang on, I've paid all this money for a game. I know it came as a code with the console, but I was like, I've paid for it, I am beating it. And I forced myself through, and it got better a little bit later. So I was like, I did enjoy that. But there was a slog of a few hours where I thought, I can't be bothered. Whereas I think if that was a Game Pass game, I think I'd have just gave up completely because in my mind, it doesn't need to, if you see what I mean. The same as Avowed. If I stopped playing it, it wouldn't make much of a difference. But I think if I'd have bought, if it was a PlayStation 5 exclusive and I'd paid £60 for it, I would beat the game. Because I want my money's worth.
And this is a difference between Xbox and PlayStation, right? And I think what the PlayStation CEO came out and said a year or so ago was correct. Is he said that they won't put any of their first-party titles onto PlayStation Plus at launch because he said that their games are higher quality than Xbox titles, and they want to keep it that way. And he said the only way that they can keep the high quality is to sell the games at the retail price. And I think he's got a point there. You know, I mean, I know they've just put the second God of War onto PS Plus, but how old is it now?
Yeah, but that's been out a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
3-4 years, something like that.
Yeah, and I think that is probably, you know, that is a good way of doing it because it keeps your quality there, right? And I know it's not great for us gamers having to spend more money, but you compare the titles that we're getting on Xbox exclusive compared to PlayStation exclusive, and there's no argument there that the PlayStation titles are so much higher quality, you know?
I'm just saying, but our mentality of playing them is different as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if this game launched as a PlayStation 5 exclusive, I think it doesn't get half the hate it's getting as well online. Because, I mean, not just that, PlayStation have had some, I don't know if they were first-party ones, but they've had some PS5 exclusive that have been stinkers as well, haven't they? What was, I don't know if I saw on everything now, I think it's on, was it Forspoken?
Oh, that was a Square Enix title, though, wasn't it?
That's what I'm saying, it wasn't first-party, but it was still an exclusive, so it's not that every game released at full price on PS5 is brilliant.
Oh no, of course not. But
that's what I'm saying. But it's just it's the mentality. But when that came out, there were still some people who had paid full price and played through the whole game and said, "Yeah, it wasn't brilliant. It was an average 5-6 out of 10 game, but I played through the lot." Whereas, to be honest, from what I've played of Avowed, I think it's not a rubbish game. It's definitely not rubbish. It's not like a 1 or 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10 travesty. it's an average, okay, maybe 5, 6 out of 10 game. But it's just people's mentality don't want. They're thinking, well, if it's going to be an Xbox exclusive, one of their first party games, we're expecting, like I said, a really high quality.
Well, I don't know, mate, because I've seen a lot of commentators online and reviews and that saying that Avowed is one of the best games I've ever played. It's amazing, blah, 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 blah. And it got me thinking, are people that only play Game Pass, do they have lower standards of video games than the rest of us? Because there is no way, in my view, that this is like an amazing game. It's, as I say, just very average. So a couple of thoughts on this is, if people that have only played Game Pass games, do they have lower standards? Also, people that that used to play loads of games and then now really play Game Pass, have their standards dropped? Because, I can think of loads of higher quality games than this going back generations. So I just find it strange, that these average games that people are praising to no end, it's really weird. It's like, as I say, they have no standards anymore. I don't really know how else to put it. It's strange. Has Game Pass lowered people's standards, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
I think that's going back to what Frosty said. It's like, this is really good for a Game Pass game, so it's kind of, it's like saying, oh, this is really good for a Netflix, for a movie, this is really good for a straight-to-streaming movie. If you see what I mean, it's like, it's sort of a backhanded compliment as well.
Yeah.
And also, because you're you're paying your subscription, aren't you?
Yeah.
Also, the games aren't free, you're paying your subscription, but because psychologically you're thinking, well, I haven't paid full price, so I'm not that fussed.
Yeah.
If you play it for a couple of hours, well, put it down, I'm not bothered now. But if you'd like, Nick was saying, if you spent 70 quid on it, you feel like you're going to have to put more effort into it.
Yeah, 100%.
Play it for longer to justify you spending that money.
Yeah, and as this is supposed to be an exclusive, this is a first-party game, and I know Microsoft have bought them.
Yeah.
Aren't exclusives supposed to make you want to buy the console?
Well, that's
what they were supposed to be. It's like, like I said, when I was like mostly PlayStation and that, and I couldn't get a PS3 because they were delayed and sold out, and I saw Gears of War, and I'm like, man, I want that game, and I bought it. And I not just saying that, I think that's a bit of all consoles at the
100%.
moment.
Yeah.
I just don't. I can't remember the last time I saw an exclusive game that made me think I need that game.
No, I agree, Nick, because I've always had that mentality.
Even PS5 this gen, mate. I honestly, if I didn't get given a PlayStation 5 for a present this year, I still don't think I'd have bought one 5 years into a PlayStation console. Because we've probably got another God of War, which wasn't as good as the last God of War, another Spider-Man that looks the same, probably wasn't as good as the last Spider-Man, and Final Fantasy Rebirth, which
is now on PC.
I wanted that because which is exactly, it's on PC. Whereas, I think realistically, there's only one game that I've played on PS5 in when it's been out 5 years that I really wanted to play.
Yeah.
Whereas I look back on all my old consoles, you've probably got 10, 15 first-party games on each of them that are, like you said, 360 PS3 era bangers, 9, 10 out of 10s, aren't they?
Yeah.
And we're not getting it anymore.
100%.
I also think, because of the cost of these consoles now, one game is not enough to sell a system.
No.
Well, especially if you're buying a bloody PS5 Pro at 800 quid. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I'm not just
spend that for one game.
Oh yeah, but I mean, you wouldn't have one. I mean, like I said, when I bought my 360, it was mainly because Gears of War, but you also had, I think I bought that, Oblivion, Tomb Raider, Legend. I think that was on PS2 as well, but the next gen version of that, and I think think I got Perfect Dark as well. And you think those are 4 really good games, within the first year of a console. I don't think PS5 or Xbox have got 5 killer games between the pair of them.
No, and that is a problem. That is a problem because, you look back in the day, exactly what you were saying, Nick, is games were system sellers. You buy Halo, well, you buy an Xbox for Halo, you buy a PlayStation, well, in my case, for the latest Final Fantasy game, because I used to be PlayStation exclusive, but now you're 100% correct, and it's now even worse with Microsoft putting all their games onto PlayStation. It's like, well, there is no reason to buy the consoles anymore because there is no exclusive games for that specific console. I know a few people that didn't buy Final Fantasy VII Remake on PS4 because they were like, well, the next one's not going to be on PS4, it's going to be on the next console. I know some people have said they're going to wait for them all to come out. I know someone who's bought 7 Remake and Rebirth on PC. Yeah.
And are they getting a worse experience than we had waiting 5 years or waiting 4 years between games?
Well, as I say, I've got a mate who was a massive PlayStation gamer. I converted him to PC, but he's a massive Final Fantasy fan like me. And I said to him, I've kept my PS5 for Rebirth because I don't want to wait a year. And he was like, well, I'm happy to wait a year. That'll fly by. And he's waited a year and now he's playing it on PC and he's more than happy. So, sorry, Peebs, I heard you were going to say something there, mate.
Well, I was going to say the next generation, it's a no-brainer. You go PlayStation.
Yeah, if you're a console gamer, yeah.
Yeah, if you're a console gamer, because you're going to be able to get all the games pretty much on PlayStation, whereas you're not going to get them on Xbox, are you, if they even bring one out?
At the end of the day, I think this is now showing the differences between the companies. So Microsoft are a software company.
Yep.
Look at what hardware, apart from the Xbox, has Microsoft brought out that is a huge runaway success.
The Zune, remember that?
Exactly. and the Microsoft phone, all these things died a death because they're a software company. So they wouldn't have any qualms on pulling the plug on an Xbox hardware system if they're just getting all of their software out and everything else. Whereas Sony is a hardware company. So their model is always to come out with the software to push the sale of the hardware.
Yeah, but I think Xbox has been the most successful hardware that Microsoft have pushed out because it's been going for over 20 years now.
Oh, absolutely.
I just think, Mr. Jelly's put in the chat, he just said development times are so stupid now. You'll have a developer working on one game for a whole generation instead of getting multiple out. He's right. I said this before. You look at PS3, with Naughty Dog, one of PlayStation's sort of best game makers. There was 3 Uncharted games and The Last of Us on PlayStation 3, whereas then you had, The Last of Us Part 2 and Uncharted 4 on PS4, so 2 games. And this generation, 5 years into PS5, they haven't made one game.
That's mad, isn't it? Jeez.
They've shown us this weird, wokey CGI thing 5 years into PlayStation, which everyone's saying that's going to be a PS6 title. Jeez. I'm just saying, it's probably your job you didn't get me on when we had that guy a couple of years ago that used to make games, because I'd probably upset him, but I just don't know what they're doing. Because I don't know why games take longer and cost so much more money compared to what they used to, especially when games are easier to make now than they used to be. You've got engines for, Unreal games, for all these things that engines you could do to help make your games, whereas back then, pretty much each game had its own engine.
Well, I think Unreal 5 is causing a lot of headaches for a lot of devs, though. I think that's a big problem this gen.
It's obviously it's less of a headache than building your own fucking engine.
I don't know, mate.
Resident Evil have been using the RE engine for 5-6 years over loads of different games, and Capcom have been using it. It's just, it's got to be a choice by these people, and they're just dragging games out for so long. Not saying you want to go back to some of the stuff that I used to hear, these people pulling like 18-hour days, sleeping under their desk for, game crunch time because they have to bring a Tomb Raider out every year and they haven't been home for like 3 months. I'm not saying you want to go back to that level, but surely you don't go from making a game every year to making one game every 6 or 7 years, do you?
What are we going to say?
Do you know what I mean? It's like,
what we're going to say, Frosty?
I think a lot of the companies using the same engine is actually a big problem.
Yeah.
Because all the games are coming out and having the same issues, the same, they can only do what the engine is allowing them to do.
Mm.
Whereas when the companies were doing their engines in-house for themselves, it frees them up to actually make that engine work for their vision of their game, rather than making their game work within the confines of the engine they've bought.
Yeah, and when you make your own engine as well, you can make multiple games of it. You look at the Yakuza series, which I'll touch on later. Amazing, still great. They use their own engine. And even Test Drive, I know a lot of people didn't like it, the latest one, but they run in their own engine. I think it looks great, and it works for them 100%. But we're seeing less and less of that now.
It'd be nice to actually speak to some of these game developers. You could find one, Webby. Apparently, a lot of them have been sacked the last year or two, so it shouldn't be hard to find someone that wants to, to play. I just don't understand what. I just think it's probably a choice that someone has made somewhere, or they're making a game like what's that old saying? Too many chefs in the kitchen. They tell them they want this type of game. They go off and start making it, and then someone makes a change. Oh, this has happened, so we've got to put more woke in. Oh, someone's got negativity for this on Twitter, so you've got to make the characters less attractive. Take the tits. Do you know what I mean? I just think they keep moving the goalposts for these people. That's why it could be that, why they take so long to make games, because they keep changing the thing.
Or perhaps it's too much focus on graphics over gameplay, 4K, 60 FPS, massive open game worlds with loads of filler, because they think that people expect every game to be a 40, 50 hour game, and I think that is part of the issue as well.
Do you remember that video I sent you last year, Webby, where they said the problem with modern games is just like, and I think the graphics cards are pushing it as well onto the games to force people. They're only interested in like ray tracing and real light, like real time shadows and reflection and all that sort of stuff. And I see some of the things that they talk about on, like Digital Foundry and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't get. And it's like, oh, if you zoom in at 400 times zoom on Ratchet and Clank's eyeballs, you can actually see the game reflected in his eyeballs. Who the fuck gives a shit about that? Who's doing that whilst they're playing a Ratchet and Clank game? Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's clever in theory, but why are people spent, months doing? Who needs to see that? Do you know what I mean? We didn't need to see that in the PS3 360 days, did we?
I mean, the technology is great, and I've always been someone that's been excited for the new and upcoming technologies. I love it. It's something I've always been interested in. But video games are for fun. Yeah. Fun first,
fun and a good game.
Fun first, everything else afterwards, 100%. Fun story, all that stuff. Get immersed, and then just do what you can. Game world graphics and stuff like that, because some of the greatest games don't have the best graphics. You know what I mean? It's just that vocal minority on social media and stuff like that, like, make it seem like it's a bigger want than what it actually is. Unfortunately. So, anyway, shall we move on to other games we've played, since we've spent an hour talking about
a game none of us really like?
Well, it's not really, but it's. I mean, it's given us a good discussion point, though, right? And I like that, because it's I find it interesting where the gaming industry is, where it's going. We talked about, there is some good games to look forward to anyway, but it's just, as I say, I think it'd be interesting to see where it goes in the future, as I say, and
Well, I think you said Ubisoft and EA are struggling a bit, and they're downsizing. Maybe they're rethinking, what they want to do making games. So hopefully, games will start to improve now rather than go this way.
Hopefully. I mean, it's only really the Western games that are having this issue, as what I said before. So, I'm hoping they do sort it out. But anyway, let's let Peebs talk about a game one of the games he's played, because we've been hogging the airwaves with with Avowed and stuff. So, Peebs, tell us what you've been playing, mate.
Well, I think the last time I was on here, wasn't I? I was playing Shadows of the Damned Remastered.
Yes.
I think that's the last time I was on. So I've been playing quite a lot, because obviously I haven't been on for a few months. And with Christmas and everything, it was quite a lot of gaming time. As you all know, my primary console now is the PlayStation.
Traitor.
But, I've actually cancelled my Xbox subscription at the minute.
Wow, wow.
It's literally, I know. Gone from full-on Xbox fanboy.
Now that, and that says something to me, Peebs, just as a little bit of an outsider looking in towards you as a person. Massive Xbox fanboy, as you admit you used to be. We loved playing
Chivo whore.
Massive Chivo whore. We've had our Chivo whore wars, and that's been a lot of fun and stuff. And for you to convert to PlayStation really says something to me about the state of Xbox at the minute, to be honest. It really does. And I just find it interesting, because I've seen that with a lot of other people as well. Console gamers have migrated to PlayStation or are migrating over to PlayStation. And you're...
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously I did it before. I'd say about a year sort of now, but only the last 6 months I've properly gone right over. Not to say I've still got, I've still got my Xbox. I still plan to set up, resubscribe again at some point, because that's my primary console for when I play Warzone and Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Obviously that's on Game Pass, because there is part of me thinks, do I just come away from Xbox completely and then just pay for the games like the Indiana Jones is obviously is delayed on PlayStation, and Wars is coming across, and things like that. And obviously Call of Duty you'd have to pay for, because obviously you can get Warzone free, but to play the multiplayer, you need to pay for the full game. But I don't know what it is really. It's like, Game Pass I've always, I have little jokes in the Discord about, it's all just full of kids' games, but there's still some good games on there.
Yeah.
The Indiana Jones came out, but they've got the Star Wars. What was it? The Jedi one came. Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
So there's some big games on there. And this is the thing. I started Jedi Survivor on Game Pass. Got halfway through it. So on my Xbox at the minute, I've cancelled the subscription, but I started Indiana Jones, not finished it. Started Jedi Survivor, not finished it. I've done obviously Sniper Elite with you, Webby. I think we've done about 5 or 6 missions.
Yeah.
And I've just sort of nothing's drawing me to go back to them. Whereas back in the day, I would have finished all them games in a heartbeat, even if I wasn't really enjoying them. I'm not one for not completing games, even if I'm not really enjoying them, I would still completed them, just like for the achievements and stuff. But like I said, I will probably resubscribe at some point, because obviously we need to finish Sniper Elite.
Yeah.
And once Collie stops his flipping skiing every Saturday and back on Warzone most Saturdays, then I'll probably resubscribe. But at the minute, I just felt like I haven't really been on it for weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm paying £15 a month. It's only £15, but I just thought, well, for the last 3 months, I haven't really played it. So it's like 45 quid I've wasted.
Yeah.
You know, it's coming out of my bank every month, and I'm not even switching the Xbox on.
Yeah.
Pretty pointless. And obviously, I've just had to fork out for my PlayStation subscription as well, because that was due beginning of February. That's like £120 because you can't really seem to find any deals on that at the minute.
Yeah.
You can't get, like back in the day, you used to be able to get the CD keys things, didn't you? The discounts from third party, but apparently someone was saying in Discord that you can't really get any third party discounts now.
No, you can't. PlayStation kind of keep it all in house now. Yeah,
you can still get some Game Pass ones on there, like 3 months for like
Game Pass, but PlayStation you can't. That's,
they still you can't buy games from CD keys or nothing anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, I've got all this all singing, dancing, PlayStation Pro, but like I was saying earlier, I'm playing. Like, I'm just going through my trophy list, and there's a lot of PS4 games.
Wow.
But yeah, the one I think I mentioned it when I was last on. I just started Cyberpunk, the PS5 version, and I've completed that now. 89 hours. That was with the DLC. When I first put it on,
what game was that? Sorry,
I wanted to Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, yeah.
So when I put it on, I thought I'm going to try and get the platinum on this, because now I'm a trophy whore, not a Chivo whore. But there's multiple endings, so it means having to save the game, going back and doing bits and bobs, and there's so many side missions and extras in this game. It is freaking huge.
Yeah.
But thoroughly enjoyed it. Really, really liked it. For me, it's like one of the games of this generation, really. Whether you call it PS4, PS5 generation, I don't know, because obviously it was PS4 primarily, wasn't it, or Xbox One, was it?
Well, it's one of those great comebacks, a bit like No Man's Lie as well, because when it launched on console, it was a bag of shit, but they came back and sorted it out, and now it runs amazing on console, which is fantastic news.
Like I say, I've played nearly 90 hours of it. I've not really had any issues. You still get the odd little bug here and there, like people walking through things, but nothing, no game breaking. And it's just a beautiful game. So much. I know I was saying earlier about games taking so long, but I think this, games do take long because they're putting so much time and effort into small little details. But this is a game where it really does work. Like, you're walking around and everyone just in the streets and stuff just look different. Like back in the day, you used to get like a generic 10 characters, so every 10th character then it reverted back to one you'd already seen. But this one generally feels like everyone's different.
Yeah.
And going back to what you said earlier about the fit bird, attractive looking characters and stuff, this does it really, really well.
Yeah, 100%.
Some of the characters, like with Pan Am, that you can have you can have multiple relationships in this game, and they're all pretty fit and stuff. So none of that.
But it's really not just
into it.
But with Cyberpunk though, and this is like the big distinction between this and say a newer game like Avowed, is you're walking around the city and it feels alive. You feel like you're in the world. People are wandering around doing their own thing, having conversations. You can kill the NPCs and stuff like that, and it's like, you feel absorbed into that, into the world, into the game, because of all that effort that they put into those little details, whereas like Avowed Game Pass fodder doesn't have any of that. You know what I mean? So there's that distinction there.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's just like even like when you're looking at the clothes as well, what they're wearing, it actually looks, you can sort of tell the materials, like if it was denim or leather or something.
Yeah.
Whereas, you can actually, it looks like it's what it's meant to be type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I mean, it's just a huge, huge game, loads of missions. Like I say, I've completed it. I've done the DLC.
Oh, with, fantastic.
Idris Elba in that, so it was pretty cool. I mean, the cars are cool. The music, it's just, I love all that sort of futuristic, like neon lights and stuff. It's just like Blade Runner-esque. It's just a truly great game, and I just couldn't put it down. Just like,
yeah.
Like I said, I want it to platinum, but there's just so much. Like, there's all these little side things where you got, I can't remember what they call them now, assaults and stuff. And there's like literally, I think it's about 150 of them, and you have to do them all to get like a trophy.
Oh, Jesus.
I just put so much time into it. I was just like a bit burnt out towards the end.
Yeah.
So I bought this on disc as well. So I thought I'll put it down for a while and go back to it when I feel like it again, and just every now and then just mop up some more of these missions to try and get the trophy. But
nice.
yeah, overall really cool. And I think the last time I was on, they were saying they were frequently updating it.
Yeah,
but
which
they're
is
still
fantastic.
getting updates on it now. So yeah, but yeah, it's a great game.
No, I'm glad they're doing that, and and it's, as I say, the world is huge, but it's just everything about it. I think they've done really well, like the shooting, the first person shooting, all the different weapons, all the customization to your character and your weapons, all the missions, all the vehicles, as you say. It's just kind of you can tell that they've put a lot of heart into the game, which is why people love the the CD Projekt Red. So
yeah, because they do The Witcher as well. The Witcher 3,
yeah,
which
that's
I've never
right.
played,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm interested to go and play that now.
Oh,
Which I've
mate.
downloaded, but never played it.
Jeez, what a game! Need to play that.
Says it's a great game.
Yeah. Awesome, Peebs. Awesome.
So yeah, that's Cyberpunk. Yeah.
Amazing. It was Nick?
No, Frosty next.
Frosty next?
I'll talk. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go next. So the next game that I've been playing is another VR game.
Amazing.
And it's called Alien Incursion.
Okay.
So this game came out late last year on PC VR and PlayStation 2, PlayStation VR 2. And I'm a huge fan of the Alien films. So I have been like chomping at the bit to play this game, and all the videos that came out looks absolutely stunning. I do have a VR capable PC, obviously, but I decided to wait for the standalone Quest 3 version.
Makes sense.
The reason being, obviously, because it's just simpler. Just put the headset on and away you go. And with the last couple of games that I mentioned when I was on last, the Batman game and the Metro game, looking so close to PC VR, I thought, no-brainer. So I wait. It only came out this month. I think it was the 18th of February it came out. And so straight away, quite expensive for a VR game as well, $30.99.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it was a no-brainer for me. So I've picked it up, and as soon as you get into the game, the graphics are woeful.
Oh, that's a shame.
Like, even compared to those last two titles that I played standalone, it is pretty ugly. They're very muddy. The draw distance is ridiculous. And I instantly thought, what have I done? Do I now go back and get the PC VR version? But after playing the game for about an hour, you completely don't care.
Oh, that's all right then. That shows its gameplay over graphics then.
This is what I was going to say from what you said earlier. It's just so like atmospheric, and of course, I mean it's not like Alien Isolation. It's not all out horror suspense. You are a colonial marine or an ex-colonial marine in this game, and almost immediately you have an arsenal of weapons. You are given the pulse rifle straight away. You got everything that you'd expect, your motion tracker, all from like the Aliens movie, basically.
Yeah.
And it's not one alien that is hunting you down in between, etc. You will do things, and all of a sudden, if you make a noise, there could be 3 or 4 of them coming at you at once.
Oh dear.
They'll run at you. They'll jump on the ceiling, the walls. So it is, it's action horror rather than suspenseful horror.
Right.
But I mean, I haven't completed it yet. I have played quite a lot of it. There is apparently a patch coming out in a week's time that is going to address some of the graphical issues.
Okay. Nice.
It's still not going to look anywhere near as nice as the PlayStation or the PC version. But yeah, it's it's a cracking game. I am happy that I did purchase it, even if I've got the downgraded version. But yeah, anyone thinking of picking this up, if you're looking at videos on YouTube, the majority of them are going to be showing you the PC or the PlayStation version, and it looks stunning.
Yeah.
You know, particle effects, the smoke coming down. You don't really get much. You get the particle effects, but you don't get the same sort of steam. At the moment, all the blood is missing. You know, there's a very famous part of it where you're looking at some of the computer screens and you can't see the screen because they're covered in blood, and you actually have to use your hand to wipe the blood off the screens for you to be able to see what you're doing on them.
Wow, okay.
All of that's missing at the moment from the Quest 3 version. But yeah, it's still a cracking game, and I do still highly recommend it for anybody who is into their VR.
Is that just because the Quest system itself is vastly underpowered compared to the PC and PlayStation?
At the end of the day, when you're playing standalone, you are playing on a mobile chipset.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So,
you know, I think I wouldn't have been bothered by the graphics so much if I hadn't played Metro Awakening.
Oh, fair enough.
But that game got it so close to PC VR, you know, that I thought, well, every game going forward of this sort of caliber is going to have that look. But it just goes to show that different devs handle it differently.
Yeah, wow, yeah, 100%.
You know, and there has been quite a lot of backlash for the Quest 3 version looking as bad as it does. I mean, you can find on YouTube some side-by-side comparison videos, and it's like in-your-face noticeable. But again, once you're in the game, graphics don't really matter.
You get immersed, yeah.
Absolutely, it's just a whole different ball game when you're in the headset. Yeah, even just being able to get the pulse rifle in your hand, as a fan of the films, just having that pulse rifle in your hand and just looking all over it.
Yeah,
it's just something else. And there are parts to this game, won't give any real story away, but you know, there are parts where there are face huggers jumping at your face, and in VR, that's a little bit.
I can imagine. Yeah,
you know, and they will attach themselves to your face, and you have to actually pull them off your face.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah, but it's your typical action alien style game. You know, I'm not going to give away any story whatsoever because so far it's quite a decent story.
Nice.
And how it's progressing. I still can't see how it's going to end. But yeah, it's pretty good. I hope that when they bring out these patches, it does align more with the PlayStation and PC VR version, because I still think it's capable of doing so.
Yeah.
From what I've seen with the other games, you know.
Nice.
So yeah, worth it.
Awesome. What about you then, Nick?
Yeah, well, I finished the game this week, which is good. I mean, you saw me finish it.
Oh, yes, I did, actually, yes.
Yeah, streamed out as Yakuza Kiwami 2.
Amazing game.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I like those games. I always get into them. I don't know if they're the best Twitch streaming games for just the amount of cutscenes. I think that these Yakuza games, they give the old Metal Gear Solid games a run for their money.
Oh, yeah.
With the cutscenes and FMVs. It's just think, you know, you go through one for like 10 minutes and then it just goes straight to another one for another 20 minutes. But
yeah,
so good. I mean, you had the what was I had some good bits. For some reason, I was fighting two tigers. For some reason, that was quite memorable. And then I was fighting a load of other Yakuza guys, like on some moving trucks, you know, sitting on the back, fighting them.
Yeah.
Which, why not?
Did you play Yakuza 0 and Kiwami 1 before you played this? Or did you?
I've been going in order.
Oh,
because like I say, the only games I played the first Yakuza game on PS2, and then I got Yakuza 2, which came out really late on PS2.
Right.
Because I didn't think we were getting it annoyed me because it was all in Japanese. I know you love it in Japanese, but with me, it's because the first one I played was English, and it's just, I don't know, I think it's because, I just prefer them in English. That's what I'm trying to get through to the Like a Dragon games, but yeah, I like the combat and the running around, all the mini games and things like that, and the final fights where it kept going. And I don't really want to spoil it because I think they're now coming off of Game Pass and going on to PlayStation this month. I think.
Right. Okay.
Because that's what they keep doing. They keep coming off of Game Pass and going on to PlayStation Premium for 6 months or a year, and then they come off that and go back onto Game Pass, so people could be trying to. But I mean, obviously, you know the ending, don't you, Webby?
Well, I played them all, so
yeah. And I thought, well, I was like, oh my god, there was like a cliffhanger ending. Is Kiryu dead? I'm like, well, there's Yakuza 3, 4, 5, and 6, so I'm going to assume he didn't die. But then they showed you after the credits, if you see what I mean. So I don't want to spoil what it was, but I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm going to go on to 3 next, but I don't know if I'm going to stream it because there's a lot of people online saying that Yakuza 3, even the remastered version on PS4, is probably the most ropiest one because obviously they did 1 and 2 with like Kiwami, so they're basically remakes, whereas 3, 4, and I think 3 and 4 were on PS3. So I think they're just up-resed a bit, and they added the some of the cut content from Japan that we got. If you'd played the PS3 version, they added a few bits to it, some of the pervy mini games. But I'm enjoying it. I just want to. I'm trying. That's what I said to you jokingly when you said about the newest Yakuza game. I was like, I can't wait to play that in 5 years. Yeah, but then you'll be playing Yakuza 10 by then, won't you?
Well, and this is something that I wanted to bring because I'm going to talk about. The new one after you've talked about this. I might as well just go into a little bit why I enjoy these games so much is because they are just pure fun. They're pure joy. They're pure Sega arcade fun, but with a serious story for the main quest. But it's in an open world where it's got batshit crazy side stuff. So it's just, for me, it's just that pure joy of having something fun to play that is serious when you want it to be or not serious when you want it to be. You know what I mean? And
and you know how these games got started, don't you?
Yeah, it was off the back of Shenmue, wasn't it?
Yeah, because basically they took a lot of, I don't know if I say the assets, but a lot of like the engines that they used to make Shenmue, and they did strip away a lot of, like we were talking about, the detail of Shenmue, like going in each individual house. You can't really go in every house in Yakuza, can you? Or most of the places. And the detail has dropped off a little bit, but they made it more, this game is more fun than what Shenmue was. It was more colourful and less, it's just like, oh, I'm into a fight, kick the crap out of them. I'm doing pervert photo shoots for some reason. Do you know what I mean? There's just like, but also some of the side stuff is more fun than the actual main quests. But also
because it's Sega and they've got such a rich history of games, they add in actual arcades in the city with proper, arcade games from their history in there. Like,
I was playing Virtua Fighter 2 in an arcade, and it's just an emulator of Virtua Fighter 2, so I'm just playing the game. I must have played that for half an hour, 40 minutes for no reason.
And it's
even though I've got that game on Sega Saturn, but I could just play it in this. And I think they've done that in some of the newer games as well.
Yeah, they've done it in pretty much all of them. Which is really, really cool. They added that into the new one, Hawaii, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, which I've been playing this week, and they added in your base as well a Master System, and it's got a bunch of games that you can play on a Master System as well, which is really cool. But that's what I like about it. You can
see the console as well.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh, that's good because they did that in Shenmue 1, didn't they? You had a Sega Saturn in your living room and stuff like that. So there's a lot of good stuff for that. But Webby, what Yakuza game would you say is your favourite, or are they kind of all blending into one? Because they're all the first 6 were and 0 were all around Kiryu, so they sort of all blend into one, don't
Yeah,
they?
I mean, I think for me, 0 is probably up there as one of my favourites because it's the beginning. It's a prequel to the story because it actually is a new game compared to the other ones because 1 came out on the PS2, the first game, but 0 was a prequel game that they brought out for the PS4. And that's what got me into the franchise because that's actually the first one I ever played.
So you didn't play them on PS2?
No. I started it on 0 on the PS4.
So that's probably why you don't mind the Japanese all the time, because you didn't start with an English.
Yeah, I started
version.
with the Japanese, and I still toggle that option now, and I'll just read the subtitles, and I'm happy with that. Even though on the Hawaii ones it's a bit weird because obviously all the Americans are speaking in Japanese, which is a little bit strange. But no, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier, is these games are just pure fun. But, when you're running around the city in those older games, they feel so alive as well because it's set on a real city in Japan, but all the people are just walking around the city, having conversations or on their phones, just going about their day. So you feel like you're actually, as you're running around, you're actually traversing that city. So you get immersed in the world, but then that immersion kind of breaks when you get into that kind of arcade fighting, but it's just so fun at the same time. You just don't care. It's just...
I mean, the fighting was fun, whereas... Like Shenmue, the fighting was trying to be too clever because Shenmue started out as a Virtua Fighter RPG.
Yeah.
So the mechanics of that game, and also we were going from, 2D to 3D, especially Virtua Fighter, which is a 2D fighter, even though they made it 3, like left and like what a normal fighting game is from the perspective, character on the left, character on the right, and stuff like that. So to make that 3D, the grabs. I mean, I love Shenmue. I think it was a brilliant game and way ahead of its time. But it definitely had flaws where, let's say, some of the fights they were just, unless you were really good at it and worked out, they were just hard to get through.
Yeah,
especially some of these. Whereas these, they're just hilarious, and you can button mash if you want.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
and some of the things like the special moves where you press triangle for him to do like a finishing move, and sometimes if some of the NPCs are walking around, like some of the girls, you'll kick the guy and he'll sort of fall into her tits and she'll get really mad and scream at him and like slap him round the face and like kung fu kick him in the balls and like kill him and stuff like that. It's just, and if you're in a fight, sometimes you're running around with another character and you do like a tag team sort of finishing move as well, where you both sort of kick him in the head and things like that. Well, you'll throw him and the other person will kick him.
Yeah.
No, it's fun. I mean, I'd play a game just like that constantly if I could get away with it.
It's just because it's fun. But what this studio does well is they are very good at putting a game out every year, which is fantastic because they reuse the same engine, which is fine. But what they do, and I normally moan about this in games, but they reuse the same, like a lot of the same city. So
it's the same city, isn't it?
Yeah.
Through the 3 games I've played.
Yeah.
But then, if that's the city where he lived...
Yeah, it makes sense. But then they add... Because
obviously he's part of the whatever Yakuza clan he's part of.
Yeah,
so that's his territory.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense for him. He does go to some other places a little bit.
Yeah.
So he'd go to... So it makes sense in the story, doesn't it?
100%. So, like... Obviously, that's kind of an original story, like the first 6-7 games. But now they've changed the titles of the games to Like a Dragon. They're trying to... I was reading about this. They're really trying to drop the Yakuza name from the series now and move on to this Like a Dragon naming convention. Obviously, they've got
Isn't
a new...
it what it was called in Japan? Was it always called Like a Dragon in Japan?
I think so, yeah, because obviously Yakuza's like, obviously... a gang in Japan, and they don't really want to be pushing
like,
that. But...
try to release something in Germany, call it Nazi shooter or something.
That's right.
So I get that.
So they've had, like, so obviously in the newer ones, it's a new main character, but older characters come back, and I'll get into the Hawaii one in a minute. But I quite like that they use a lot of those same areas and assets anyway, so, because in a lot of the games they add new areas which are quite big, but then you always end up going back to that older big area as well. And it's quite amazing to me sometimes, like in one of the later Yakuza games, I think it might have been 6, like you spend most of the game in a completely new area and it's huge, but then there's a chapter in the game where you go back to the original city and it's fucking huge, and you've got all the stuff that you can do there. So you can spend like 20 hours just on one chapter doing all the crap there. And I just think it's cool that they do that sort of stuff.
I suppose it's good for like nostalgia and familiarity as well.
Yeah.
If you've played the previous games, you're like, oh, I'm back here. Oh, I know where this shop is. I know where this is. And you go to have a look to see what it's like now, how they've upgraded it and things like that.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about the series, obviously I'm a huge fan of it, I've played them all, is it's a real... sometimes I think to myself, it's quite a hard sell for new players, like, because people say to me, oh yeah, the new Hawaii game's out, do you recommend I play that? And I'm like, well, you could step into these, like, as a new player, because you got a new main character, but then I feel like if you're doing that, you're missing out on a lot of backstory, a lot of the old characters, because it's like old characters and stuff come back. And if you know them, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that character in that game and this happened and stuff like that. You kind of miss that if you're a beginner to the series, if that makes sense. So it's
hard to expect someone to play 7 20, 30-hour games to get up to start the Like a Dragon stuff, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, you could come in as a newcomer to say like a Dragon, and then to Infinite Wealth that way, and miss out on the Kiryu stuff. But I think, as a fan of the series, I would always say start off with 0 and go through them at your own pace. But that's just me being a massive fan. It's definitely one of my favorite gaming series / franchises ever now, because they put so much love into the games. They're so much fun, and all have fucking banging stories. And I just like that they carry on from each other.
Oh, the music as well, like the fighting music and the stuff. It's got, you can tell the people who worked on Shenmue worked on this as well. Just like some of like the exploring and the music and the fighting and things like that. Yeah.
And what they've done as well in the later games, like the Like a Dragon ones, is they've changed up the battle system as well. So obviously in the older ones, it's that arcadey button mashing. Whereas the 2 Like a Dragon games, it goes to turn-based battle system, and it works really well. But then on this Pirate Yakuza one that I've been playing this week, it goes back to that older arcadey style fighting. So I like that they change it up in the gameplay styles as well.
Are they doing it every other year? Are they? One is the RPG one, one's a fighting one. Is that what they're doing?
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure at all.
I can't remember how, because you had Like a Dragon, then there's the Like a Dragon Ishin, and there's another one or something, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, there's another one I'm missing. Something, the man name or something?
Oh, the man who erased his name, yeah.
Is it that one? No,
Yeah.
there's 4 since the RPG change.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a smaller one that was released as well, but like a really small game? Or am I?
There's been loads, mate. There's been fucking shit loads of them.
Yeah. Well, do you want to talk about the new one then?
Yeah, so I picked up the new game this week, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. The full title is Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. I know it's a fucking long-ass title. I'm not going to talk about it for ages, because I know these are all very niche titles. But what they've done really well with this is it's its own game in its own right, but you play as like the main bad guy who's been the main bad guy throughout the whole series from Yakuza 0. But they've done the old cliche where he's ended up on this desert island and he's got amnesia. So he has no idea who he is or anything like that. And it's from the seriousness of the previous kind of main stories, this is just a wacky offshoot and it's just pure fun. But what they've done is so I've played it for about 15 hours now. And what I can say is it's its own game, which is great. You could actually probably just play this on its own. But what I like about it as well is you end up going to the Hawaii region from the last game, which was Infinite Wealth. And it's actually a kind of a sequel to Infinite Wealth in a weird way, because you go back to the original region. It has all the same mini games. A lot of characters come back. And kind of some of the story from Infinite Wealth kind of carries on in a weird way without me spoiling anything. But what they've added into it is it's in modern day, but you're a pirate ship captain and you can actually sail the seas in a pirate ship. And it's like an arcadey version, Frosty, of Sea of Thieves. So you can sail around. There's islands where you can go and get treasure. But it's done in a more very faster arcadey pace of you don't need to manage the wind or anything like that. You just set the ship going in a direction and it will go. You can boost it faster, and it's just pure crazy fun. I'm absolutely loving that style of it because it's got all these things added into it, because you've got the pirate ship sailing, you've got the islands, you've got the original Hawaii region, and I've spent fucking ages now on the second chapter just in Hawaii doing the side stuff, but all that ship stuff was so much fun doing it, and obviously I'm going to go back to it, obviously for the story and stuff that happens, but part of the quest line is you got this pirate ship and you got to enter this competition for pirate ship battle, so you can fully customize your ship with colors and different sails, upgrade your guns, and all that sort of stuff as well. So basically, and you can upgrade all your crew as well. So basically, what they've done is they've added it's this weird arcadey pirate game, but it's also has a semi-serious story where you're the main character and you're trying to figure out who you are and overcome your amnesia, and characters come back and they're like, "Oh, Majima, do you not recognize me?" And he's like, "No." And it's all this silly, like that Japanese humor. So if you're into that humor, you'll find it really funny, which I do. There is just so much to this game. It's like what we were having our discussion earlier about video games and just having that fun factor. For me, this is the ultimate fun factor in a game because I'm enjoying all the side stuff. It has a Mario Kart rip-off in it. It's called Dragon Kart, and it has it's like a full game on its own. You got Grand Prix that you can do like a Mario Kart, and it's an exact rip-off. You're in your kart, you pick up power-ups, and you got to take out the competition and win the championship like a Mario Kart. There's a Crazy Taxi rip-off in it, where you're on a bike and you got to deliver pizzas. And it is just Crazy Taxi. It's called Crazy Delivery. And obviously it's Sega, isn't it? So, it has all the Crazy Taxi kind of art and everything, which is fucking awesome. It has a full-on arcade. It has an arcade in the mall in there, and it has real arcades from Daytona, Virtua Fighter and stuff like that. In your base, you've got a Master System, as I've mentioned. You've got Alex Kidd and various other.
So you can play Daytona.
Yeah, it's fucking mad, isn't it? So it has all because it's Sega. They've got all this history. You can do all this extra wacky stuff in the game, but it's just really weird for me coming from the previous title, which was all set in Hawaii, which is a big region. So you've got that, but they've added all this extra into the game of the high seas around Hawaii, all these extra islands, because part of the side missions in the game is visiting islands and gathering your and gathering hidden treasure, because you've got these treasure maps. So you've got to go and get all this treasure and all that sort of stuff as well. So it's like, there's so much content within this. It's pretty amazing to me, to be honest. You know, out of that 15 hours of me playing it, I've probably spent about 10, 11 hours of that just doing side stuff and having fun just doing that, you know, because it's just crazy and fun. So, you know, I'm absolutely loving this game, and I like the fact that it's such a departure from all the other titles, in the fact that you know, all the other titles have been, you know, that main story is very serious, very, you know, on that mafia side of things. It's like a Japanese Goodfellas. Whereas this is just, it doesn't take itself seriously at all. It's just a silly game. You know, you're playing as the bad guy, but he's a kind of a goodie in this, and it's just, there's loads of jokes. It's just silly. I mean, like, you're a pirate in modern day. It's fucking weird. You know what I mean? So you're in an old-timey pirate ship. So it makes no sense at all, but it just works because it's just so fun. You know, like, all the mechanics are done so well because it's not trying to be realistic at all. It's all very, very arcadey, and it just, all those gameplay elements come together so well. And as I mentioned to Nick earlier, you know, the Like a Dragon games have been pushing the turn-based combat, and for them to bring this out and change up the whole gameplay combat back to that original arcade style is just a stroke of genius, in my opinion, because it's something that we've been missing a little bit. And it just changes up the whole game completely, because it feels like something completely different to that previous title, even though a big section of the game is exactly the same zone from last year's title. So it works really well. And as I say, like, if you've played the previous game, a lot of the side quests are the same people coming back and more crazy stuff happening, which was quite, and for me, you know, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth was one of my favourite games from last year, so it's still kind of fresh in my memory. Instantly recognised characters and how to do some of the stuff, and it was just, I'm just finding it a lot of fun, and I think that's something that can be missing from a lot of modern games. You know, they focus so heavily on graphics that they forget about a silly story and just fun gameplay, and this just has that fun factor jacked up to fucking 100 out of 100, you know what I mean? It's just that, and it just brings a smile to my face when I'm playing it. I'm just having fun, and that's what gaming is all about.
I know some of them get annoyed, but it's like the fact that they can reuse engines and assets and characters and make new games. I mean, some of the videos I'm watching you, you know, like when you're buying stuff from the shop, it looks almost identical menus to Yakuza 0, Kiwami 1 and 2 I've been playing.
Yeah, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't know what it is where some game companies thinks that once they've finished a game, they have to completely bin everything they've used and start again from scratch.
Yeah.
Is that what people want? Or we just want a good game?
Well, that's it, isn't it? So, you know, it's a great game. It's so much fun. It is, you know, probably the most fun I've had in a game for quite a while. It's definitely the best game that I've played this year. I know we're only in February, so there's not been a lot of competition.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer the fighting combat or the RPG fighting? Because obviously you like RPGs and Final Fantasy.
I like both, man, because the combat, both combat systems are so refined. It's hard to find a nitpick in them, because the combat in this, that arcadey combat, punch, kick, and block, and jumping around and that, it's a lot of fun. But the turn-based combat in the other games, again, is so refined because they add like those little button pushes and stuff like that within the battle system, if that makes sense, within that turn-based combat. I don't really have a preference because, as I say, I think they both work so well. So, but yeah,
That's good if they're going to alternate between the two, then, so you don't get bored of doing the same thing.
100%, you know, and again, like all the characters are very well realised. Obviously, I can't mention anything on the voice.
Have you met the wrestler that's in this game yet?
No.
Do you not know who I'm talking about?
Is he like John Cena?
Oh no, a lot worse. not as well known. He's in it, but he's in wrestling. He's in the AEW now.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I would put
Samoa Joe.
Is he in? Oh, is he?
Yeah, I saw a video of it. Apparently, he's in it. I was like, "Yep, that's Samoa Joe."
Obviously, I haven't got that far. I don't recognise him.
Oh, sorry, I've just spoiled something of the game. Then I just thought that, I didn't know how, because I think he was in the Suicide Squad as well, like as a cameo appearance. I don't know why he's in video. They've decided to start putting him in video games. I don't know, but maybe I should have said that a bit easier.
Well, I don't really know who that is anyway.
Who he is.
So
you might have met him and don't even know.
Yeah, probably it could have been.
I mean, there's probably plenty more Samoans in Hawaii anyway.
Yeah, but no, I just want to just finish off by saying, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I know they're very niche titles. I get that. I know that most people's in the West not really our cup of tea, but if you're into the Japanese kind of culture and you enjoy that humour and all that sort of stuff, it's definitely a great gaming franchise, and this one is another banger in my opinion. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that I'm fucking loving it. So, we will carry on with what everyone else has been playing, I guess. So, was it Peebs or Frosty next? I can't really remember now.
Peebs, I think.
Peebs.
It's me. Well, I'll rattle a few quick ones off because I've got to come off soon.
Yeah, that's cool,
2
mate.
hours, and we've not even really touched what we've been playing yet.
Well, I've only those are the only games I've played. So
yeah, me too. So you can bang all yours out if you want.
Yeah, because I've talked about Armour a lot the last few weeks, and I've played that a lot again. I don't really want to talk about it again because, yeah. Go on, Peebs.
Well, yeah, obviously we did a bit of Sniper Elite, didn't we? I don't know if you've talked about that on the last few podcasts of you or not, Webby.
Good fun, mate. Good fun. Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're all pretty... Yeah, I mean, what's that one? 5 or 4? 5, isn't it?
I have no fucking clue.
No, it's actually got a number, is it? I think it can't remember what it's called.
Resistance.
Resistance, isn't
Resistance, yes.
Yeah, so they've obviously keep banging these out, don't they? I think this is about 5 or 6 of them all together. And then you've got the zombie army ones that are pretty similar, apart from, obviously, they're zombies. But yeah, they're bringing out that new game soon, aren't they? Is it Atomfall? That looks quite interesting.
It does look quite good, that. Yeah. But the Sniper Elite...
That's going to Game Pass as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So you might have to resubscribe for that. Yeah, to check it out. But this is one of those game. This is one of those game series that uses the same engine every game, a lot of the same assets, and even the same fucking DLCs. But they're still good fun, aren't they?
Same characters.
Yeah,
they are, especially in co-op, because obviously they're supposed to be done stealthily, but you can run and gun if you want. But obviously the main aim of it is to be a sniper and just do it all discreetly, which we try and do, don't we, Webby, for about 5 minutes, and then it goes all out the window.
Yeah, 100%.
That's one of the cocks up. But yeah, they're good, and obviously there's collectibles and stuff. I think the last one we did together, we did the whole game, didn't we? And we got a guide up and we got all the collectibles.
Yeah, we did.
This one we didn't on this one. We're just trying to complete the game. So
yeah, we've both given up on the old. We've both given up on the Chivo horror now, haven't we? It just doesn't have the same
sort of
reward anymore. Well, for me anyway.
No. Well, no. I mean, obviously, I still try and get them, but I'm not as obsessed as I was. I'm sort of more back into my trophies, trying to catch Stunty up on the old trophies. Still quite a way behind him, but he's not playing so much now.
No, he's all loved up, isn't he? So gaming's out the window for him.
Yeah, but over Christmas I purchased Star Wars Battlefront 2.
That's a bit of an old game.
Because I obviously had it on the Xbox, played it quite a bit. But I see it was like $1.99 on the PlayStation Store, so I thought I'd pick it up. And actually really put a lot of hours into it over Christmas because it just still looks, even though it's a PS4 game, it still looks beautiful.
Well, it's got
really good graphics.
It's got a single player campaign, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got a campaign. I've completed the campaign and added a little bit of DLC because I bought the Ultimate Edition, so it had like a bits of DLC and stuff and skins and whatever else. So there was there's 3 extra like DLC missions, so I've done them. There's trophies for them, so I've done that. But then I've actually been enjoying the multiplayer, ranked up to 20. I think there's a trophy for getting to rank 25 and then to rank 50. But I'm ranked 26 or 7 now. I put a lot of hours into it.
Oh, wow.
I'm really enjoying it. I mean, there's still quite a lot of people playing it because I thought, well, that's going to be the thing. I thought, oh, there's probably not going to be anyone online. But yeah, there's still quite a good community of people playing it. So you always find a game.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah, so yeah, really enjoying that. And then I noticed that Battlefield 5 the last couple of days was £1.70.
Jeez.
Again, a PS4, but I thought for £1.70 I'll just get it. Has that one got a campaign?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Battlefield. Yeah, I thought it did.
I actually remember it being quite good.
I don't think I completed it. Yeah, I remember you saying. I don't think I completed it on the Xbox. So yeah, I thought for £1.70, even if I don't play much of it, it's
Yeah.
I haven't spent.
I beat that last year. That's a good campaign.
Yeah, I remember it being people saying at the time it was a good campaign. So yeah, I shall try and finish it this time.
Nice.
And then I think last time I was on here, I was playing the Dead Rising remastered. They just brought that out, hadn't they?
Oh yeah.
Which got me to buy Dead Rising 2 because that was in a sale as well for a couple of quid. Yeah, they do some like good. Obviously, they're older games, but they do some like couple of quid game sales. So
that's good.
I just pick them up, less than a flipping coffee. So, yeah, I've just started Dead Rising 2, but that's good. But because it's not the remastered version, it is actually just the old version. It's still got that stupid save system, which is you can only save when you go to the toilet.
Yeah.
in the restrooms, so you can the other day I had like 6 or 7 survivors. I hadn't saved for a while. I had 7 survivors following me back to the safe house and got killed, and then I'd lost like 2 hours gameplay to go back to the save. I was like, oh god, so I just bloody dashboard it. I was like, oh, it's frustrating having that save system. So I remember back in the day the original Dead Rising had that stupid save system, didn't it? Did put a lot of people off.
Yeah.
But the remastered version that they brought out recently, you can still save in the restrooms, but it does have a save like every it does have checkpoints, which is a lot better. But this one doesn't because it's the old original version.
Yeah.
It's not it's not a remaster or anything. What else? The main 2 games that I've been playing this last couple of weeks is another PS4 game. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered.
Oh mate, what a game!
Yeah, and that's because it's the free game. It's not on the Plus catalog. It's one of their like the old Games for Gold or whatever their version is. Because they have a version, they have different tiers, don't they, for this premium thing, which I still can't really get my head around. But this is not a free game, but it's one of the 3 games you get with your premium service or whatever service it is.
I remember we all had a blast on this on the 360 back in the day, didn't we? We used to get
I was going to say, because this game, this game is old because it brought back memories of because I think this got released in one of the Eurogamers.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Do you remember the T-shirt?
Yes.
Remember the police T-shirt?
Yes, I do, yes.
Seacrest County.
Yes.
We got T-shirts because I remember telling a story back on the podcast back then that I had to go to Boots for something and I had it on. Someone actually thought I was a copper because it said police on it.
Oh, that's
police,
hilarious.
Seacrest County.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I'm telling that story back. Yeah, but yeah, we all got free T-shirts back in the day when we all used to meet up at Eurogamer.
Yeah.
We used to get good swag. And it's sweet FA now, but
I know.
But yeah, I've just been really good because Yeah, the glory days, mate. But it still holds up because obviously it's a remastered version, so the graphics look really nice. I mean, there's loads of cars. It's in depth, and obviously it's the cops and robbers where you can spike and use EMPs and
Yeah.
pull roadblocks and stuff in. But I mean, my brother have been actually playing it online this week
Oh,
together, so
really?
it's
Oh,
really
wicked.
all the online works and stuff. It might take a little while for a room to fill up, but there's still people playing it.
Oh, nice.
So that's good fun playing online. Yeah, and it's got all like online leaderboards, and when you used to have the wall, the
Yeah.
leaderboard, you can chat, you can beat other people's scores, and then post it on their wall so that when they go on the game, it will notify them to say Peebs has beaten your score. Do you want to like try and take the score back? So it's all that stuff is really. Because me and my brother got the competition trying to messaging him in the week, I've just beaten your score, mate. You better get back on it, and it's just good fun.
Brilliant.
Trying to get on there and like, beat each other's scores. But yeah, it still holds up really well. Really nicely done. Yeah, like I say, we played it back in the day, but that must be over good 10 years old now. Good,
Jesus,
yeah. It must be about 11, 12 years now.
Yeah, man.
When that game came out. Yeah, but great. And then the other big game, because obviously it came onto the PS Plus catalog, was the God of War Ragnarok that he mentioned a bit earlier.
Yeah.
I never played this when it got released, but obviously it dropped on the catalog this week, a couple of weeks ago. So I've downloaded it and just started getting into it. I'm about 3 or 4 hours in. I know you've talked about it in the past how beautiful it looks. All the God of Wars look really, really nice, and this is no different. It's like beautiful graphics. I'm actually really enjoying it. I know but people have mentioned, it's pretty much the same. It's similar to I mean, I could get that where, I mean, it started off really well, and it sort of brought a tear to my eye a little bit because at the beginning his wolf dies, and my dog died recently, so that was quite typical, But apart from that, really liking it. Although I say that, there were bits of it when you like get out, you sort of get into an open world bit, and you get in your boat, and you have to go from like little island to island. I'm thinking, well, this is pretty much the same as the last one.
Yeah.
And then you get off your boat, and then you do a puzzle, fight a few enemies, get back on your boat. But it is really well done. There's loads of things to collect and chests to try, a lot of puzzles to unlock the chests, and I think there's sort of like a bit of a not replayability, but you go back and go to areas that you perhaps couldn't access first time around because you've unlocked new weapons and stuff. But yeah, I'm really liking it. I can see why people were a bit frustrated with it because it's similar, but if it's not broke, don't fix it type thing. I'm liking it, and I think I will complete it.
Did you play the first one? Yeah.
Yeah, I've looked on my games list. I put about 60 hours into the other one.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I played that one quite late. If you see, I think the PS5 was already out when I played that. Like I played it 2 or 3 years later, so I think there was only about a year in between me playing the first one and that one. So I think that's maybe why I was a bit like burnt out on it by then.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because it's been, it's like I say, I looked on my thing and it said 60 hours 5 years ago. So it's been 5 years since I played the last one. So it's, although it does remind me, and I can remember like the boats and going around and doing puzzles and stuff, I do think it's because it's been a while, it feels a little bit newer. So I'm not, but like I say, I'm really liking it. It's beautiful. It's obviously pro enhanced, so I'm getting the best full shiny version. So yeah, really good.
Cool.
And obviously you can. It's a bit. I can't remember in the other one. Could you check? Because obviously it's with him and his son. This one you often do bits with with the son on his own. So that's quite good. I can't remember if you did that in the other one.
I don't think you did in the first one. No.
No, so that's a sort of new element to it. But yeah,
I think there might have been like a really quick section of playing as him, but nothing major. Like you could play the whole game as him. Have you tried I don't know if you could. I think if you play it from the main menu, I don't know if it unlocks after you've finished it. They've given away like sort of like a roguelike DLC, like a whole new way of playing it. Like if you play through the game, collect them items, and if you die, you like restart the whole thing again. Have you tried that yet? The DLC
No, I
is
haven't. I
free.
did see. Yeah, I did see the DLC and I did download it, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I
I
thought,
sort
well, I
of
won't
say
try it until I finish the
I
game,
don't
but I
think it
don't yet.
spoils anything because it does that thing where it takes all your armor and items you've collected away, and basically you go through the doors of I forgot what it's called, where basically you die and then you go to Ragnarok or Hell or something. I can't remember what it's called. And no, Valhalla, that's the thing. And yeah, it's a completely separate. It's worth probably for 2 or 3 hours to play that again until you get bored. So if you finish, I'd give it a go.
Yeah, I
But if
definitely
you
will
finish the
try it.
story, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, you get a few
So you'd recommend finishing
Chivos
the
or
story
trophies. I
first?
know you
Yeah.
like free trophies.
Yeah, I think it's got its own trophy list,
Yeah.
hasn't it? So, yeah.
Does that
so,
annoy
yeah.
you as well if you get like a platinum trophy at something? You're like, got a platinum trophy 100%, and then they release some DLC, and then it says, oh, you've got like 85% of the trophies now.
Yeah, that's one thing they could update, I think, is the way they do these achievements and stuff. Like you say, the DLC goes onto like a separate trophy thing, doesn't it? But it knocks down, even though your platinum trophy sort of stays on when you click on it, you'll see the platinum trophy, but the percentage will go and be dropped down from 100, won't it?
Do you like trophies better than Chivos now?
I think so. Like I said, I prefer the ping sort of pop, what I used to say back in the day. But
yeah. I suppose it's nice to see the platinum trophy because, like, if you get 1000 G on a Xbox game, you don't really get how many games you've done that on.
No.
I think when I thought about that the other year, I was like, well, how many have I actually got? And I had to go through them on the console and count. Whereas with PlayStation, you could just see the platinum, can't you?
Yeah.
Well, Chivos are very hidden on Xbox now. Anyway, I think it's not. Yeah. It's not forefront like it used to be.
No, and obviously with PlayStation, that was sort of when the PlayStation 3 came out. They never had an achievement system, did they?
No, they were quite late. I think.
They tacked it on, didn't they? And it wasn't. I don't know. I think they just did it because Xbox had done theirs, and it took off quite well. And then it was a bit of an afterthought. Oh shit, what they're doing, when we better do one. But hopefully, I mean, I do get the odd because with when you put a game on, sometimes you'll get like a notification that says, "Are you enjoying the trophies?" You can sort of tick yes or no. Yeah, so maybe they're looking to date it or do something because there's no like leaderboard or anything. And obviously, you've got your achievement leaderboard on Xbox, haven't you? You can see where everyone is, how many achievements they've unlocked. You can't really see that on PlayStation without clicking on someone's profile and going into their profile.
Yeah. Anything else?
I don't know. No, that's pretty much it. Apart from obviously the FIFAs and stuff, Helldivers a bit of, because the last time I was on here, my son I bought the PS Pro, and then my son had my PlayStation, and he bought Helldivers too. So I've been doing a bit of that with him.
Nice.
So he's liking the PlayStation.
Sweet, good times.
Yeah, cool.
Any of you guys played anything else before we move on?
I got one more.
Go on then, mate.
And I only played this one because of a post that you put up in the Discord.
Oh, okay.
And that is F1 Manager 24.
Oh, yes. That's on the old Epic Games. Well, it was on the Epic Games for free, was it? For a while, yeah.
Yeah, so I picked it up. Obviously, being a big Formula One fan, I bought the first one when it first came in. What was that, 22? But I didn't buy number 23 because people said there wasn't enough different from the first game.
Yeah.
But in this one, they have added a build your own team section. And you can have a backstory. You know, you could be a brand new manufacturer, or somebody who's got a millionaire involved, and all this sort of thing. And it will give you different starting points to your career, basically. But yes, I've just started just started playing through that. Done a couple of races so far, but they've also added they call it the mentality system, which is basically like a morale system for your drivers and your staff. And they have added in more to do with the sponsors now as well. So, obviously, being a brand new team, I'm not expecting to win races.
Yeah.
But to keep your sponsors happy, they'll give you goals for each race. Like become 18th or above, and as long as you hit those goals. I mean, I came 14th on one of the races, and it was as if I'd won the race.
Right.
Everyone was super happy, etc., etc. But the game itself isn't hugely different from the previous versions. They have added some extra camera angles in the races and things. So everything is pretty much what you'd expect from the game 2 years ago.
Yeah, the layout looks the same. Yeah.
They just added little tweaks and little extra bits to do with the management, which is what you want, really, going forward. But I have heard that this is it.
They're not doing any more. Oh.
No.
So, well, the thing is, both of us are big F1 fans. We watch every race.
Yeah.
And I just find these games boring, man. If I want to play an F1 game, I'm going to play F1 24 and actually race the cars. Like, I've tried so hard to enjoy the first manager game, and I was just like, it's not for me. It's just, I don't know.
I like that aspect of it.
Yeah. But I don't think they sold very well,
No, like I say, I think the second game, the Formula 1 23, put a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Because it could have just been DLC rather than a whole brand new game.
Yeah.
And to be honest, this could have been as well.
Yeah.
It's not enough differences to warrant a full purchase again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have picked this up if you hadn't have said, oh, by the way, it's free on the Epic Store at the moment.
Yeah.
But I am glad because obviously the Formula 1 season is about to kick off. So
something to do.
They've added sprint race weekends in this. I don't know if that was in last season's, but it certainly wasn't in the first one.
Mm.
So there are extra little bits and pieces, and I mean, I actually watch the races in real time as well.
Oh God!
I have it sort of like going on in the background while I'm doing other things,
Yeah.
But there's not much more I can really say to that. It was just a quick one to mention. I don't know whether it's still free.
No, it's not. It's run out now.
It's not.
Yeah. Because I think when I put it on the Discord, I only had a couple of days left. So
it was a bit weird though, because the first game was on Game Pass.
Yeah, and then it came off Game Pass, and I've not put any of the next ones on there.
No.
No.
Very peculiar.
Yes. But who's the people that make this? Oh, I forget the name of the...
It's Frontier.
Yeah, so I did feel a bit bad about it because one of our community members actually got a job at Frontier about 2 years ago and was really excited to go there, but I don't think the company are putting out anything that's really selling that well, unfortunately, which is quite sad.
They've put a little bit more of a boost into Elite Dangerous.
Yeah, that's good.
There's some new content coming from that. But then they've also had the Jurassic Park.
Oh, that's right.
Games as well. But I think they're sort of like hitting a bit of a wall themselves at the minute.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, I see the time is ticking on, guys. So I just want to. There's been a couple of questions that I just want to read out. And I know Peebs is wanting to go to bed. So let me just. I've only had two questions. So, what's my tag asks. When a game comes out, I always love comparing it to similar games from the studio that have been released before. How does Avowed compare to Obsidian's other RPGs, like Fallout New Vegas, Outer Worlds, Alpha Protocol? Are there any similarities in storytelling, combat, world design? What does it do better, worse than what they've created before?
I think we've answered a lot of it.
We have, mate. I think we answered pretty much all of that, to be honest. So... I don't think we need to say any more on that discussion because we had nearly an hour discussion on that. So, and the only other question I've already answered it as well from Off the Base, which is your favourite Yakuza game in the series? And Nick asked me that earlier. So we've actually answered the question. So thank you very much for asking questions, but we've already answered them. So I do apologise. Only a couple of bits of news before we end. Apparently, the new Elder Scrolls game is rumoured to be titled Hammerfell, and apparently it's rumoured to feature naval battles and shipbuilding. So Frosty will be really happy with that. Be like a pirate game. Right. Yeah, man. So that's quite interesting news. Days Gone Remastered, we talked about last week, has been announced. A little bit
Anyone
more.
interested in getting that?
No, because I rinsed it and it's a great game.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I really, yeah, I'm the same. I really enjoyed that game, but I don't know. It's a big game as well. I don't know whether it warrants. We want a second game, not a remaster.
100%. I agree with you 100%, Peebs. But what? So basically, this little bit of news is obviously they mentioned that if you own the game, you can upgrade it for £10. However, obviously the game was on that PS Plus collection, and they're saying, and it says here, if you've got it through the PS Plus thing, you can't upgrade it for the tenner. You got to pay for the full game, which I think is a bit.
I might do it through the PS Plus thing.
Yeah, which I think is a bit naughty.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Drunken Crew just mentioned on the Twitch, he says, bring back Elite Dangerous back to console. It's already on console, isn't it?
It is, but they've stopped development for it.
Only on console?
Yes.
Oh, so they're still updating the PC version?
They are, yeah.
That's a bit naughty,
because you got all the Elite Dangerous Odyssey DLC never came to console.
Oh, and that's the planet landing and all that, isn't it?
Not a planet landing, but it's the getting out using first-person guns and things.
Oh, okay. Oh, I need to try that because I've got that DLC, but I've not actually played it. Oh, I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, but it's a bit janky, to be fair.
Fair dues. Some more leaks for next generation Xbox console is that the next gen Xbox controller is going to be pretty much copying the PlayStation controller in regards to the haptic feedback stuff.
Oh, at least it's not the thumb positions.
Yes, but those triggers are awesome. So some of those haptics, I think, would be cool. But the other rumor that's on here is that the next gen console controllers for Xbox are going to have built-in batteries. Like the PlayStation ones, which I don't like because it's nice to swap in and out your batteries. So that would be a little bit annoying.
Do we think Xbox are going to bring another console out then, do we?
Yes. I predict that Xbox will bring out another console for next gen, but I think it'll be their last console.
Yeah, that could be.
Agreed.
Because they're going they're trying to push. They're trying to be a Sega and just push games out everywhere, but also they're trying to push Game Pass and game streaming. I think that's where they want to go. So I'm just going to stick with PC and be a PC wanker. And to be fair, right, I think it says something to me where I've bought every Xbox console at launch, and the next console will probably be the first one which I don't buy at launch, at least, because I'm just not.
Same.
You will buy it eventually, but
I probably will, but it'll be for the kids, I reckon. It won't be for me.
I don't use my Series X much at all, anyway.
No.
The thing is, the price isn't going to be stupid as well, aren't they? Because the Pro's 700, so you're looking at the next generation being at least 700 up, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, which is a lot of money, and
Yeah.
Mr. Jelly on the Twitch reckons Xbox will go all in on handhelds, which,
I've heard a lot of that myself, actually.
Yeah, it could be quite interesting.
Yeah, I'll keep hearing rumours about it. Yeah. Well, I think they've seen the success of the Steam Deck, haven't they? And thought,
Yep. Switch, Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Switch when that comes out, and then even PlayStation have done that thing, haven't they? What I know it's not a
The
handheld
Portal,
as such,
yeah.
but the Portal, yeah, that with the latest update, they reckon that's really good. So I thought about getting one myself.
Yeah, because on that you can stream just games from the cloud now, can't you? Which,
yeah,
no matter how you feel about it, I think it's pretty cool. But you know,
no, a couple of mates have got them, and they work really, really well.
it's good to hear. I just think, I prefer a handheld like the Steam Deck where the game's actually on the system and you can take it anywhere. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't be able to use the Portal on a plane journey, for example. So it'd just be interesting to see what the future holds, really. But yeah, I just think it's quite interesting. And the last thing I saw, just a little nugget I saw on Eurogamer website, is that a former Sony executive came out and said that PlayStation putting games onto PC is almost like printing money, because apparently the games have been selling really well on PC. So, like Spider-Man and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And the God of Wars and things. So, I think going forward, especially for next gen, I think PC is going to get everything from Xbox and PlayStation. So, like, if you're a PC gamer, you're going to be in a win-win situation, you know? So, I think that's pretty cool. But, yeah, he's saying it's almost like printing money, and mentions that China in particular, because China has a huge PC gaming market as well. So, yeah, that's all my news, really. I just wanted to mention those things briefly.
Got a couple of little bits.
Go on, then.
Well, I've got one that I think could be good news and one that sounds to me like bad news.
Oh, dear.
What one would you like
Go
first?
for the bad news first, and then we'll end the podcast on a happy note.
Okay, so the bad news is that the Microsoft CEO has been making comments about the future of Xbox games.
Oh, God.
And it is talking about using generative AI to actually produce the games. So they're using an AI model called Muse.
Right.
And he's talking about how they can use it to generate the assets and the art of a lot of the games, and of course computer-controlled characters. But he's also talking about this system could actually completely design the game from the ground up and be fully AI generated.
Oh, I don't believe it for a second.
So, yeah, all that sounds like bad news to me.
Well, it'll put a lot of people out of jobs if it is true.
Yep.
But I think you can't replace humans when it comes to art, for storytelling and stuff like that. You know, I mean, I've used AI quite a bit personally, and it's not up to the snuff yet. It really isn't. I don't think it ever will be. You can't replace the creativity of a human.
Yeah, what did he say?
Because
go on, Peebs.
Sorry, I was just going to say I've got to set up an Instagram account for my football collection.
Yeah.
People want to follow it. It's Peebs Player 10, just a little plug. But I was trying to get a AI picture to try and get them to design me a picture to go on as my profile picture. So I wanted like a football and then Peebs in the name, and I'll kept getting it to generate it for me. And some of the stuff it was coming up with, but it kept spelling my name wrong and stuff. Just little things like that. It just doesn't get right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not.
Yes, it says it here that he was referring to using Muse as a wow moment. The CEO revealed that Microsoft is planning to use generative AI in multiple upcoming game projects. He expressed his view that they will have a catalogue of games that will use Muse, as well as using Muse to generate games entirely.
Well, they'll be shit games. I'm sorry. I mean, I do like to look towards the future, and I'm usually pretty positive when it comes to technology. But nah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't see this being a replacement.
A good thing.
No.
And then the good news.
Anyway.
The good news is more of a rumour.
Ooh, we like a good rumour.
And it's to do with the Nintendo Switch 2.
Oh, okay.
And they are talking about that there will be an add-on for the Switch 2 that will make it a dual screen.
Oh, I did see this, actually. Yeah. I forgot to put that in. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm looking at it now on Forbes, funny enough. And then it will clip onto the top and use the port on the top, and it will actually fold up and down like a DS. There you go.
Yeah, I found it, yeah.
And so people were saying that you could then open up the Switch 2 to all the back catalogue of DS-style games.
Jesus, and there was a lot of games on the DS and the 3DS. Jeez, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's concept art, of course, on their website, but it looks quite cool because, when that folds down, it's also a screen protector.
100%, yeah. The old clamshell. Yeah, definitely.
Somewhere in America, like one of the American sites, accidentally leak a price of $450 and take it down as well.
I don't know. I didn't see that, but that would be about a rough guide price anyway. I imagine that's the price that people would expect to pay for it. I mean, I'm not really into Nintendo anymore. I mean, I've got a Switch for me kids, but it's just I like the look of the systems. I think they're cool, but I'm just not interested in the games. That's just me.
Yeah. But I mean, those DS games, very innovative, weren't they? So if you had that sort of opportunity on the Switch, you imagine the games that they could actually create for those dual screens.
100%, yeah. But also, I just think still, even now, I know it's been a long time since the Switch 1 came out. What an idea that they brought forward of being able to dock your console and play it on the telly. You know what I mean? I still think that's just such a cool thing.
I think it was also cool how it was universally hated when they announced it because no one thought it was a thing. No one thought it would work and it was a stupid idea and it's just killed it.
Well, it's the best-selling console of all time now, isn't it?
I think it's up there. I don't know if
it is.
It's very close.
It is. I think it beat out the... I think the previous was the DS, actually, over the PS2. Yeah, I'm sure it was. Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Maybe. I'm sure, last year at some point, it was really close. But
but no, that's that would be a really cool idea. 100%. I think that's awesome.
I don't know how it would affect the battery life though. But if you imagine that with also, they talked about having that mouse control as well.
Yeah.
What they could come up with. If anyone can do it, it's Nintendo.
Oh, 100%, yeah. I think handheld gaming is kind of hitting a really good stride at the minute. I know we've touched on this already, like the Switch 2, Steam Deck. You got all these other kind of PC handhelds. Steam OS, they've put out now, and they can that Steam OS you can put onto other systems now. So I think we're going to see quite a lot of really good PC style handhelds coming out in the future as well. And the Steam Deck is quite underpowered now, really, and it still runs like modern games quite well because of the screen and the resolution, and they look good. And it's such a cool way to game, I think. And I'm quite excited to see what the future holds for handheld gaming, to be honest. I know it's not I know it's not for everyone, but
it's strange as well how it sort of made a resurgence, because after the PSP and they sort of died a death and no one seemed to be that bothered about handhelds, and now they seem to be making a big comeback.
Yeah, I think for the PC space, it's something. It's kind of different because a lot of us have got big libraries on our Steam libraries as a prime example. So being able to buy a system and already have a back catalogue of hundreds of games is pretty awesome, in my opinion. So
I think it's the Steam Deck that has really kickstarted it all again.
Yeah, I think so. 100%. Yeah,
everyone looking at them again. Yeah. They did die off with the Nintendo DS, really.
Yeah.
I just think the DS, Nintendo made good handheld games, whereas the Vita and PSP, they were worse home console versions of the games. And it was good to play, and then you think, well, yeah, this Vice City copy is good, but I'd rather just play it on the TV. Whereas the Steam Deck and Switch, they've got the best, they've got the balance right, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
And with Steam Deck, you could just play anything on there. So that's, the fact you could just pause it and leave it running in the background and start it up again a couple of days later where you left off. Whereas, obviously, the PSP, you couldn't leave it, suspended.
Yeah, that's right.
If you see what I mean, you'd
Yeah.
have to turn the whole thing off. So,
Yeah.
yeah. There's more chance of me buying the Switch 2 than there is the next console on launch.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, there we go. And that is it, guys, I believe. So I think we're going to end it here. It's been 2.5 hours. Long time. Good discussions, as always. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming on. It's been awesome. Everyone on Twitch, thank you so much for joining us and sticking with us for the whole time as well. And big thank you to those of you that asked questions, Mr. Jelly and Jonkin Crew. Awesome, awesome. So from all of us here, it's been great. We will hope to see you next week. Goodbye. I wasn't past late for you, Peebs.
Yeah, I said I'd be off at 9:30, but there you go. Got to be up at 5.
Well, enjoy.
Day off tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, all right for some.
All good.
But I haven't even got anything to do. I was supposed to take my car in to get it MOT'd and serviced at King's Lynn, but they decided they wanted like 450 quid for a service, so I had it done close at home yesterday for 190 quid. So,
Well, my week should be better than last week. I was in bloody hospital on Monday.
Oh, was you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hope everything's all right. Well, they let you out.
You're
so
getting that
obviously
sex
it's good.
change, weren't you?
No, they reckon I've got sleep apnea.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I just stopped breathing in my sleep.
Oh, so did you stop breathing in your sleep and then have to go to hospital? What happened?
So what happened is I woke up Monday morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning, with the most horrendous chest pains. Like scary chest pains.
Yeah.
And I've already got a regular heartbeat as it is. So with that, I mean, it was one of those where you was on the edge of calling somebody.
Yeah.
But then it lasted about 20 minutes and started to die off again, to the point then where I went straight back to sleep again. But then the next day I got up, went to work, and I was at my first job, and I was sitting there thinking, I just don't feel right. I felt like I was going to pass out, and
Jeez.
yeah, I didn't actually feel super safe to drive even, So what with that happening in the night and then feeling the way I was feeling, I thought, I'll better just go get myself checked out. And they were really good. I mean, I got to the hospital 9:45 in the morning, and I didn't get out there till 7:30 at night.
Wow.
And they took X-rays of my chest. They did all the ECGs and all that normal sort of stuff. Then loads and loads of blood tests. They even tested for like blood clots in my lungs and all sorts. And it all came back okay. They said there was a little bit of heightened to show that there was some stresses at the heart at some point, but then just sort of like totally out of the blue, he said, "Do you snore?" I said, "Well, the wife says I do." And he said, "Do you find yourself falling asleep in the day?" And like all these different things that were happening.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he said, "I think you've got sleep apnea."
So you got to wear one of those mouth guard things now or something,
Well, they've got to send all the info to my GP, and then I might have to do some sleep studies and things like that. But
because you can get those mouth. They like Joe Rogan uses one. Moves your tongue and stop your tongue going back or something. Stops the. Apparently, they're quite good.
Yeah, the machines that they tend to use are the big full-on face masks.
Yeah.
I think they're called a CAPA machine or something. And those little mouth guards are sort of like mini versions of that, by all account.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
But yeah, so what's happening is, even without even realising, sometimes apparently you can wake up 300 times in a night.
Oh wow!
But not enough to wake you up.
Yeah,
your
yeah,
body
yeah.
wakes up. So
Yeah.
you never reach REM sleep.
Right, so it just completely fucks you up then, basically.
So it just fucks you up.
Yeah.
So that's and all of that can even with the sleep apnea can all start from like being guttural. We said, do you suffer from reflux and things like that? And I'm banging Renee on a regular basis,
Yeah.
So yeah, interestingly, it literally came out of the blue. I was called to this room with 2 consultants, and I was thinking, fucking hell, what they found,
Yeah.
But and he just started going down that route. So we'll have to see. But I think it sounds about right, because there's quite a few times where I sort of wake myself up thinking that I was snoring loudly, but it might be that I stopped breathing.
Yeah.
So can be dangerous by all accounts,
man.
but
shit.
We'll have to see where it goes.
Jeez, yeah. Wow.
So yeah, hopefully this week is going to be nice and straightforward.
Oh, wow. On that happy note, I'm going to jump off, guys. I hope you get it sorted, Frosty, anyway.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Won't stop me from partying.
Or drinking a bottle of wine
get
a
absolutely
night.
wasted every night. That'll help you sleep.
He drinks a lot of wine, that guy.
I do indeed.
Yeah.
Well, we was out last night, and I took 15 cans of Kronenberg 1664, and there was 2 of us drinking. We completely polished that off and started a new crate.
Jesus.
So yeah, we do party hard.
Crazy.
And so you should. Get hit
just
by
like
a bus tomorrow,
Peebs.
couldn't you?
Peebs is a party animal.
I've calmed down a lot since Christmas, to be fair. So I've not really been. So I had a lot of shit going on, so I've just not been feeling it as much. But
I did dry January.
Did you?
Yeah, I reckon that's what's kickstarted it all off.
Your body's like, oh, where's all this alcohol gone?
Wake up, give me some alcohol.
Well, yeah, because obviously, the missus will drink most Saturdays, but we've not been since Christmas, and we've been getting up Sundays, and we've said, like, we don't feel any better for it. I don't feel like I've lost any weight. I don't feel like I've slept any better. So,
back on it then.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to disappear.
Yeah, me too. I need to get off early. So
yeah, I'm going to bed.
Cheers, guys. I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.